What's up, everybody? This is the Fast Life Podcast, and this is the one we did with Horsepower Inc. And hello, I'm glad you guys are fucking listening.
What's up, everyone? This is the one. This is the one you get to hear the bike getting stolen.
Yeah, you can literally hear them. I'm sitting here trying to find at what exact time it happened, but, you know, it's like 2.5 hours, so
It's in there somewhere.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Don't really want to talk about it anymore. It's getting a little, it just sucks. Anyway, hopefully it's all working out, though. We're working with my buddy Jetty's insurance to find out, to get it all covered. And it's been, it's just one of those things. We're getting back into the swing of doing shit at the shop, getting things done, getting a couple baggers we got to do next month dialed in, ready for, some base coat and stuff. But currently, we're working on 2 sets of chopper tins and trying to knock out as many helmets as we possibly can by the end of the month. That way we can just kind of be free of those, that hopefully by the 1st of August we can start taking in new helmet orders. So that's what we're working towards right now. A little busy. Trying to get my personal Dyna back on the road so I can have something to ride so I won't be a grumpy little bitch all the time. That's the one we've been posting little tidbits of on Instagram, teasers of the fender and our story, so you can check that out. I feel a lot better after this trip, even though some horrible shit happened. I feel better as far as work is concerned because I don't feel like I got a gun to my head that this has to be done by tomorrow and that has to be done by tomorrow. So it's a more comfortable work environment, even though it's been like kind of cloudy and rainy here the last couple of days, so it's been super cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
But now that shit's going away and it's getting back to the hot sumbitch it actually is every other day. So anyway, we're excited for that. Just excited to get shit done and carry on, basically. I know a lot of people are going to Born Free this weekend, and I'm fucking jealous, kinda. I'm jealous. I want to be there because it's it's the place to be, but
But
you're going out there. I'm hope you guys take a lot of cool pictures. I hope there's some badass bikes out there. I know a lot of people are getting done with some pretty dope shit. I'm seeing it on Instagram. Things coming together.
Horsepower's gonna have something out there.
Yeah, Horsepower. Valley Customs just finished a clean ass FXR 124, and you should check that out on his IG. Yeah, there's plenty of people, man. A lot of people are doing badass shit. I'm excited to see everybody's build for the, which we talk about in this podcast some, but everybody's Softail build for the 115th anniversary HD thing. So I hopefully get to see some cool shit. I'm a big fan of Horsepower Inc.'s bike. I've already been tagged in hundreds of times by the San Diego Customs one, which happens to be a venture bike, which a lot of you
was my fucking idea.
Yeah, a lot of you listeners know that we were kind of kicking that around earlier this year. Not saying that it was our idea, just
I'm saying it was my idea.
A lot of people have tagged us in it. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is a cool ass bike, though. Not exactly how I envisioned it at all.
Yeah, not. Still. I was thinking more along the lines of a regular bike, just with some,
like some upgrades for all terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah, not going like way the fuck out like they did. Yeah. But hey, Born Free.
It's still cool
whatever.
Shit.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. So I mean, if you're going out there, cool, man. I can't wait to see all the pics and all the videos and all the fun shit from Born Free. Yeah, lucky you motherfuckers, huh? If you're going to be sitting at work or sitting at home or whatever you're doing, and, just know I'll be doing the same shit. Pretty much nothing cool.
How does that make it any better for them?
Just, they're not alone.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So, this podcast is brought to you by Texas Performance, as always. Go down and check him out. Mark is actually, I've been talking about it plenty of times on here, but we're this Dyna that I'm building for myself. We're doing a nice little cam upgrade in it and going through the bike, doing some maintenance. It's going to be my new daily rider. I'm excited to see how it feels. I'm excited to see what it does on the dyno. We're just a stock 88-inch motor with some, basic bitch bolt-ons. You know what I'm saying? So, but check Mark out, TexasPerformanceMC.com and on IG. Don't forget he's in Cedar Park, Texas. That's Northwest Austin. Check him out. Stop in. Tell him you heard about him through our podcast, and maybe he'll give you a high five. I don't know how that works. I don't know. We'll see. Also, this podcast and featured in this podcast is Horsepower Inc. Jimmy and those guys were awesome, and I really enjoyed the short time I got to spend up there. The shop is badass. The work they do is badass. The products they sell is kick-ass. All the dudes hanging out at the shop with all the fucking retarded,
that was
fast
cool.
diners everywhere.
Yeah.
That shit was badass. So I guess Horsepower Inc. is just a badass company, and I hope you guys are following them on all their social media outlets, which is horsepowerinc.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. Indy on Facebook. Check them out. They got a lot of shit coming. I think we talk about a lot of the products that they're working on and the direction they're taking their business and some other things in this podcast. So check those guys out.
My ride home was sponsored by Horsepower Inc.
Yeah. Also, don't forget to check out Paint Huffer Metal Flake, the supplier of badassery for all of us custom painters across the country. I just laced the fuck out of my Dyna with some 50/50 Metal Flake, which I got from Brian over at painthuffer.com. Or Paint Huffer, in general.
Yeah.
I was trying to integrate that into the sentence, but it just didn't work. But no, motherfucker's sparkly. It's jazzy as fuck, ain't it? I'm just looking at it right now, just sitting there sparkling in the dark and shit. So anyway, check him out. Painthuffer.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. Solid dude, rad dude. Still working on getting some of the pearls from him. I got some. I just haven't had a canvas to throw it on yet, so we're looking forward to the progress on that. Also, I appreciate you guys that did start following us on our YouTube page. We still need to go a long motherfucking way on that. And I'm actively, now that I'm a little caught up with work, I'm kind of thinking, this is the first step of the process of making shit happen, but I'm thinking about ways that I can do some stuff or bring some more content to you. So just wanted to, tease you with that, even though it's probably going to go nowhere because we're going to be probably busy as fuck next week.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
But anyway, thanks for following us. Don't forget to, help us out on our Patreon, which you can get a link to on our website, which is fastlifegarage.com. All our social media outlets are hubbed right there on the front page where you can get to everything. We appreciate all you guys sharing our podcast. We appreciate all you guys supporting the podcast. And hopefully, I got a couple leads on some more content to bring you. We will have at least 5 podcasts this month. Fuck that. I just said that, and we have 1 week left this month, and we've only done 2 so far, including this one.
Yeah. Why did you say that?
Because I think I have people coming on.
Oh, you think?
Yeah. We also considered maybe doing like a podcast. I know this is stupid, maybe. I don't know. You tell me what you think. We were thinking about doing a podcast basically talking about just 100% the day that I got into motorcycles and just that whole story. I don't know if you've heard it. I don't know if it's worth listening to, but if you'd like to know, let me know, and maybe me and Jesse can make that happen. The hardest part about doing that podcast is talking to someone who already knows it, who already knows the stories. You know what I mean? Like, you just become repetitive. I don't know, it feels weird, but I've had some people ask me about wanting to know about our story. Hey,
Jay, so how did we get here where we're at right now that I've been with you the whole time?
Yeah, so it's a little weird, but, maybe we can pull it off. But, yeah, we're going to try to bring you something, man. It's just everybody's running off to shows, and they're leaving us behind, and there's nobody to do podcasts with, so we're kind of bumming on that. But we're trying to bring you some content. So if it's a slow month, we apologize. We got plenty more months to come and plenty more people to talk to and plenty more shit to do.
Unless we die.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go that far. But, so yeah, just continue to help us out with your support. All that shit's rad. We appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this podcast with Horsepower Inc.
Ta-da!
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
We'll get into that. There's some stories on that.
All right, fellas, so we're already live.
Oh, shit. Nice.
So we are here at Horsepower Inc. We fucking rode all the way out here. Talking to the owners, I guess?
Yeah.
So I don't remember your
Of
name.
sorts. Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yep.
Okay. So
What's the Jimmy Light from on your Instagram? And I saw the shirt over there on the shelf.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
The neon thing or whatever. What was it?
Sprint cars. Sprint
Oh, is that
cars,
what that's
yeah.
from?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Sprint cars and
Nice,
midgets.
But yeah, so we're here and we're already pretty kind of toasty.
You are. I'm
a
sober.
little. I'm a little. Why are you lying right now?
Dude, I just rode a bike across Indianapolis, Mooresville. That was a pretty nice ride.
It is a nice ride.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I'm a little toasty. So for once, Jace is more sober than me.
Well, it's a race to the finish on this one. We're in Indianapolis and everything's
a race.
No, but it's cool out here, man.
I fucking love this shop.
Yeah, I do. You know what? I love all these shops we've gone to because they've all had ACs on it. I don't know what the hell is wrong with us Texas dudes. We're in the worst heat.
I hate air condition. I
don't?
I know. I like it when I get home. Like if it's like really, really, really cold.
Yeah.
But I like to work in it hot.
Yeah, dude.
I hate this.
Why?
I don't know.
Some weird thing about
Well, you know, I worked in a machine shops my whole life. They don't have AC.
Oh, that's right. You got those big ass machines.
Right, you don't run.
They're kicking up a lot of heat themselves and stuff.
So it's always hot in there. And so since I was a kid, I don't know, I just liked working in the heat.
Yeah,
I like it hotter the better.
So I guess, man, let's just rewind this shit all the way back as far as you're willing to talk about. Your mom was just telling us some crazy stories about you running people over in high school parking lots.
Yeah. I was a bad kid to say the least, but.
So were you here in Indy or back then? Or?
No, we're all from Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, from Erie, right up on the lake. We started my family's been in machining a long time. Mm-hmm. My uncles had machine shops way when I was 5 and 6 years old. And then we started, the integrated machine that she started was in 2001.
Uh-huh.
And about a year later, my uncle ended up buying like an O2 Jade Green night train.
Nice.
Those were cool. But
I've always liked night trains, man.
Me too.
personally.
I just thought they were neat.
Yeah.
The Jade
They were
Green
the
was
only
awesome.
blacked out. Well, I guess the FXDXs were blacked out too, but back then the Dynas weren't cool and shit. It was all about Softails,
and that was a murdered
night
out
train
one.
was the shit, dude.
Yeah, those were cool. And he bought one and it was just slow.
Mm-hmm.
But we were making parts for lots of people in the industry. We still do, but like what the hell was the name of that place? Mid USA, remember them?
Yeah, yeah.
When they had that 114 drop-in Evo, had like the small block Chevy crank where it was offset rods.
Yeah.
We made the engine cases, the cylinders, and then the transmission cases and stuff. So we were kind of like in the bike industry, but we were not at bikers at all.
You were saying that like your uncle had all these he had a machine shop, so you grew up in it. Like what was the time frame of this? And like, because we were kind of talking about this with Brad, as well, because he used to have a machining job,
Right.
and we were asking like, because his time frame was like late '90s, right?
Right.
And I was wondering, was machining still more manual then, or was it already kind of swapping over to like a more CNC type?
Most of our stuff was, everything we do, and at that time was CNC too.
Yeah.
I went to school during high school, like, Votech school, 10th and 11th, 12th grade, half a day. But the tool and die, like Erie was the largest concentration of machine shops in the United States for like 60 years.
For real?
Because they would make most of the steel in Pittsburgh. It would go north to Erie, they'd machine it, and then they'd put it on in the bay and ship it out on ships through to Detroit and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like Erie was it's a real cold, hard industrial town.
Well, is that where the Erie feeling comes from?
Yeah, kind of. Dude, it's cold up there, dude. Like, it's bad.
He said that.
Yeah.
No, but that's actually fascinating. I'm a history nerd, even though I don't know any of it.
Right.
But it's a contradiction. That's cool though, because Pittsburgh was known for steel,
right,
and doing that, and then they were machining there, and then Detroit was building cars and stuff. So it's like this trifecta of people working on making all this shit happen and stuff.
Right. That area was banging for a 40-year period.
Wow.
And then
is it kind of just dead there?
Yeah,
now,
it's dead, dude. It's that aspect of it's dead. Like it's more of they've tried to make it more of like tourist town, because we got this peninsula that goes out in the lake, and it's really nice out there, and it makes a big Presque Isle Bay, they call it. So they got a bunch of hotels and stuff down there, but it's just
I think a few people has gone there before. Yeah,
it's really nice, but it's cold as fuck.
Yeah,
like really cold in the winter.
So your uncle was kind of like, was he just like a part of that big movement of like?
Yeah, well, we've
out?
all been. So like how I got into the racing thing was he raced back in the day when I was a kid. So he had like a dirt late model in the early 90s. It was in the driveway, and then I was just fucking fascinated.
Yeah,
like
hooked into it.
Hooked from day one. So we're all a bunch of motorheads, really. I mean, essentially that's kind of all it was. And when he got that bike, it was like, wow, this is really slow.
Yeah.
So we just started fucking with shit. And there was a couple people who we had made parts for. Do you remember Carl's Speed Shop?
Yeah.
Remember that Typhoon Carburetor they had?
I don't remember
it. Came out, had a big velocity stack outside.
I remember, was it the one that actually put the whole carburetor out there? Yeah.
Okay. We made those, and there was people like that said, there's these throttle bodies are new on these bikes, but no one's making any bigger stuff. So we just bored a stock one out, put it on the dyno, made some more horsepower, put a cam in it, bored it out a little bit bigger, and made one. So then he decided to make one, and everybody there, Eric, who was here, and they took everybody, like, I don't know, it was probably a 6-month project before they got it all done. And we took it to Cincinnati Trade Show in like 2002, and
So
we
it
sold
was a V-Twin Expo
Yeah,
or
V-Twin
something?
Expo,
Yeah.
and that's when it was big.
Yeah.
We sold them all in the parking lot. Actually, the guy, a buddy of mine, Eric, who lives here, he bought the first one in the parking lot.
Wow, slinging throttle bodies in the parking lot.
And we didn't even know
Like
we were
bootleg
we
tapes.
didn't even know we were doing. We just made parts. We didn't know anything about it. Like
Yeah.
we really honestly didn't know shit. We just made it bigger.
Hey,
it worked
call
good.
into throttle bodies and opens the hood.
Right.
I mean the trunk, sorry.
Yeah, that was good times.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But it was awesome also too, right when Harley was kind of transitioning into all fuel injected bikes as well, because
Right.
I remember like the first 99s to 2000s, their fuel injection sucked on these bikes. They were having lots of problems with Road Kings and stuff like that.
Morellis and shit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
And I don't
Terrible.
know a lot about it, but I just know through being in the industry for so long and the hearsay about it,
Those bikes are bad. They have mechanical. We sell replacements for them, but they have like mechanical idle circuits. So the IAC motor is like a mechanical arm that comes from the cable wheel up to the top. So it's not a real good reading. It jumps around on idle, and their alpha end system, they're just archaic.
Yeah.
But you can get them to run good, but you got to find somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do.
So how was that transition though? Like after you made those throttle bodies, was the demand just like, fuck yeah, let's do this? And
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty crazy for a while. My mom entered this small business contest, and won $25,000 from like the small business development area in Erie.
Yeah.
And we used that to make the first casting and that stuff. That was a big deal. And we made them we only had them for like the 2001, 2005 dynas because that was the years it was.
Yeah.
It took off like crazy for a while, and then everybody copied it.
Yeah.
Everybody. Kiriakin had one. Thunderheart made one. Everybody, they didn't copy it. They only just made their own version of it.
Yeah.
Some of them were the same. Some of them were different. Everyone, because it was new.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much all non-existent. But
Yeah, well, those guys don't really have a hard stake in like actual performance.
Right.
They're just looking for a part.
we've always, like the difference in that is that we've only really made that.
Yeah.
We've made that, air cleaners and stuff. We also make a lot of other components that are on, most people have them on their bike for other companies in this side of the
Yeah.
industry, but people don't know that. It's like,
Yeah.
we make a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, we've never really like veered off of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been a good business plan or a shitty one, but we've always stayed making what we did. We tried to always make it better. We didn't give a shit who copied it and whatever, if it was
Yeah.
the same or different. We always tried to make it simple for the consumer too, because like all of ours are everything on like every one of them is OEM compatible. So your
Yeah.
air cleaner, if you already bought a Roland Sands air cleaner, it still fits. Harley injectors fit in it, so it's all like.
Yeah,
it
it's
makes it easier for
interchangeable.
the guy to go, hey, I already bought a $500 air cleaner and now it don't fit. What do I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So that part of it is like a little bit different because we never branched off and did anything that anybody else was doing. Because on our side of it, most of the guys that like are really close with us and good friends, but people that do like more higher end precision, cylinder head stuff like T-Man and Kendall
Yeah.
Johnson, those guys, Dave Mackey, they all go, hey, these kits run this good if you have this throttle body. Well, that's what we have to kind of stay good on because they need to push it with what they do, and that's kind of how we've never really wanted to make cylinder heads and all that stuff, which we have the capabilities of doing.
Yeah.
We just didn't want to do that because that's what kind of drives it, essentially,
Yeah.
kind of. But
Well, shit, with the capabilities, it sounds like you can just pretty much make your own motors.
we can make a lot of stuff. We make a lot of stuff for automotive, the side that's pretty intricate stuff. But as far as the bike side stuff, we kind of just did
Yeah.
this, you know.
Well, that's actually pretty cool, man. So, after you were selling those things out of the trunk, essentially.
Yeah.
Like you said, your mom won the show, and then she was kind of giving me the she was already a little toasty.
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
tell me, but she was telling me that y'all did something. Y'all went down to Daytona or something.
Yeah, we so after that first winter, we came back and we were like, well, we want to, do something cool. And we just making more power with it. Like we didn't even there was these tuners that were called DFO boxes. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's extremely smart, and he's helped DynoJet do some of their software. Anyway, he made these little boxes, and all they had was a low, medium, and a high, and you just adjusted it you turned your fuel injected bike into a carburetor again, essentially.
Nice.
That's all you did. That's the only tuning software that was
Yeah.
really available at the time. So we built a 95 cubic inch, or no, it was still an 88 cubic inch. And it was it was crazy. I don't know, it was 13 something compression, big cam, had a ton of RAM on it. We made for Bob Woods. All this stuff was on it. And we went down there and did the horsepower shootout. I think it made 125 or something like that.
Damn.
127.
That's retarded.
It was retarded for the time.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, whoa,
So
what
with
the fuck?
88 inch.
88 inch, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But it was stock bottom end. We didn't really have anything.
He just built a time bomb, basically.
Right. Essentially.
Just throw it all. Put a
Throw
lot
it
of
on
nitrous
there.
in there. Just blow it up. Let's make that.
So we went down and did that. That was kind of what put us on the map, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
essentially. Because it was a fuel-injected bike. It started up, and everybody was like, whoa, fuel-injected bikes don't sound like that.
It just had that lope and from the
right,
cam.
it was just
and
loud, and it was fast, and it made big power, and everybody thought, they were rolling off the Morelli
So
bikes,
how-
they were thinking they can't make power.
At that time frame, I wasn't really in the business yet. So at that time frame, you're talking around 2002,
2-3, yep.
So with the chopper craze that was going on, how was it for you guys doing that stuff and going to fuel injection when every chopper out there on the street that was getting built from everybody
Right.
was all
Carbureted.
pretty much carbureted and for the most part Evo.
Right. Well, there was still always, there's always still been that one side of the industry where there's that group of people that, want their bike to run
Yeah.
good, whatever it is. But, those are guys that usually buy baggers or do whatever, So that side of it was still there. I think it grew and shrunk and grows. It moves around,
Yeah.
But the chopper thing really didn't, on the performance side of it, it didn't really affect it much. Because those bikes weren't known for that.
Yeah.
They had a crate motor in it that was whatever it was, and that was it. Those guys that bought that never touched it, dude.
It's like dudes will just buy a fully built out motor from somebody and then
Right.
put a carb on it and
Runs
all
like
they
shit.
know how to do is adjust the carb a little bit and the
Right.
little, what is it, the twin tech ignition on the
yeah,
bottom
and
shit.
then just run it.
yeah, and just it runs like shit. Well, fuck, they're just
You
put
look
them on-
cool, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's all about looking cool.
yeah. That was a crazy time though, but it was pretty cool that you were at the beginning of what is essentially the fuel injective movement into Harley Davidson, and you were right there at the beginning, helping. Now Harley has a big, they got their Screaming Eagle version. Was it a 54 inch or
Yeah,
58?
58.
So when did they come around and start? Obviously, they didn't have that right out of the gate, did they?
No, we were the first people to make any of them. And then a lot of other companies came out with versions. I think Screaming Eagle came out with the first throttle body in 2008 or 9.
Yeah, I was gonna
think.
say it was late.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came out with a Screaming Eagle 50 in 07 for the bikes that came cable driven that were 46 millimeters. But I think it came out throttle by wire in 2008 or 9. It was 58. And they made a couple other versions. They got a 64 and stuff for some other bigger ones, but
Yeah.
ours are more. Ours are you can they're CNC ported and they're a performance based unit. We're the
Yeah.
only people that do that on that, but it's more made for making power, and it's a nice piece. It's a little bit more expensive than everybody else's, but it's not it's not just a cast inside and ports
Yeah.
end up wherever they are.
Yeah,
it's not just a
exactly.
bigger plate. There's a lot into it. Our manifold section is where our difference isn't from everybody else's.
For real, yeah. So, you were saying you in high school you're doing the vocational stuff, and then you already had kind of the family background in the machining industry. Mm-hmm. So, did you just get out of high school and go straight into working with the family in the shops, or did you have any other Like whose Softail was? Whose Night Train was? It was your uncle's, right?
Uncle's, yeah.
So
yeah.
when was it that were you already like gearhead, or were you?
No,
doing
I've
the
always
racing?
been I've always been into, I've always been a motorhead.
Yeah.
And I raced go-karts and like circled dirt track stuff.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. And when I got out of high school, I worked for the shop for a while. And I wanted to be a race car driver. That was it. Like, that's from the time I was 5. Yeah, that was it. So I moved here in 2000, would have been the end of 04, I think, to race midgets, and I raced that for about a year. And I worked for a fab shop down the street. I actually moved into a building that's right down the street. I call it the Speed Palace because it was like a shop like this on the bottom, and then the upstairs had this big ass apartment.
Oh, shit.
And it was right in the same parking lot as the fab shop I was working at. So it was like, for me, I was, 19 or something. It was like dream come true.
Yeah.
I came here, unloaded my car, went upstairs, slept, worked in the parking lot. So I bounced and was here trying to be a race car driver for a couple years. Ran sprint cars and stuff like that. And when I moved back to Erie in 2008. Me and Laura did. I met her when I first moved here. And we moved back in 2008. The economy had, taken a shit.
Yeah.
And the machining industry was like dying.
For real.
And we moved back there, and this stuff had slowed down, but there was a lot of people, I think, when the industry kind of was in bad shape there, a lot of companies were more like cutting product lines and concentrating on what they did the best, because it was not so much to get. So we changed a couple things, came out with a throttle-by-wire throttle body, and then started jamming on that. Yeah. Race cars were, it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
So that's what brought you. That's why we're in Indianapolis now.
That's why we got here. So when I moved here, I raced here for 3 or 4 years, 5 years, and I did pretty good. I had some success in the sprint car stuff, not so much the midgets. And then when I moved back there, I still raced like locally there.
Yeah.
But we wanted to move. Me and Laura wanted to move back here. It's just there's a lot going on here compared to there. Her family was here. And at the time, we were extremely busy on everything. We were out of room at the shop. So we were like, hey, we'll come here, start up. It's most of our dealers are honestly within an 8-hour radius of here. So it would be like better for shipping.
Yeah.
We could do shipping and just assembly and stuff here. So we did that, and that worked out good for a while. Then we got extremely busy, and it become more than that. We put the dyno in like a couple years later, and I kind of just kept that for testing and our stuff.
Yeah.
People
so when
found us
did you like really open the doors to actually start wrenching on bikes and doing the performance stuff that you do?
Done that. We did a bunch of that before I moved, and then when I moved back there in 2008, me and Eric we did a bunch of builds. He's like did the dyno stuff, and he's an extremely good tuner, probably one of the best there is. But I did a bunch of engine builds. He did the tuning. It was all good, and then there was not really a market there for that in town. So when I left, we pretty much stopped doing it up there. I mean, there's kind of
I remember that time frame, that kind of era. Kendall Johnson was like the guy that everybody knew that was the big all about horsepower and shit like that. Like he was the performance guy.
Oh yeah,
and everybody else was more aesthetics and the fabrication abilities and stuff like that. But he was always known for that,
making power. Yeah, and they still do. Yeah. Zach's a bad motherfucker. He can make some big ass numbers. So, like, when did you finally get your own bike and start fucking with that? And so when I moved back here, I bought a Dyna. Would have been 2000. No. Would have been 2013. I bought a Dyna, and I always worked on them. I liked making them run. I liked them that part of it, but I never really was into riding them much.
Yeah.
And then I bought that Dyna, and then I was like, oh man, I've been missing out here.
Yeah.
It's a good time. But honestly, I haven't raced a sprint car in a couple of years because we've been so busy here. Plus, having a kid and all those other things, take up your time. So I've rode my bike more than I used to. I like the Dyna, but that bagger I have too, dude, I love that thing. It's just nice to cruise on.
It is nice. Yeah, I got some nice roads out here for cruising. Like
the more you go south, it's pretty
nice.
That's
how we came through, was to the south, and
right.
there's some nice little sweeping, not hard curves, not necessarily mountains, but some nice hills.
Right.
And nice tree canopies in some areas where you just kind of get out of that sun for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then once we get on 70, then it's like fields and sun beaming down on you.
Oh, yeah.
You can see for miles,
Right.
But no, it seems cool. This whole town seems like big in just motors and power.
Yeah.
From just the guys that were hanging out in the parking lot to, what we see in the shop. There's like only one custom painted motorcycle here, and it's the one in the fucking dyno room right now.
Right.
Going to California in a week.
Right. Yeah, we liked stuff to run. This city, it's the racing capital of the world. The motor speedway over there pretty much dictates everything,
Yeah, I kind of, I've been to Charlotte, before too, and I kind of got that feeling like they're hardcore NASCAR fans over there.
Right.
But here, I just get the vibe of like it's just racing of all sorts here.
Yeah, there's everything here. Like, the reason I moved here was because, like, the sprint car scene here, you can race 3 nights a week within an hour of Indianapolis. You can race two. There used to be like 2 places on Friday that were an hour from here. There's 4 places that race on Saturday, and there was usually 1 or 2 that raced on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So like you can race all the time.
Nice.
And that it's like that throughout the. This is the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Back in the day, people wanted to race the speedway. They had to come here and race sprint cars and Silver Crown cars and all that kind of stuff to make it to that.
Way up that
right.
Yeah.
That don't happen anymore, but it's still kind of that way.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So if you can like completely just kind of like let that, I don't want to say go.
No.
But you just kind of like.
Not really. There is no rush that you can ever possibly get other than driving a sprint car. It's like the baddest fucking thing on the earth. Mm-hmm. It has more power to weight ratio than a Formula 1 car. So you like that is hard to like get away from.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely not. I didn't sell everything. I just sold some stuff and here and there, and I still have my sprint car and a couple other cars. I'll race a little bit sometime, probably next year a little bit. But
yeah.
It's just it's hard to race. I'm not the kind of person that really likes to just do something half-assed. And like honestly, today how fast-paced racing is, and people are trying to move up to the next levels. Mm-hmm. These dudes that are good race 100 times a year, and if you're racing 3 and 4 times a week, it's hard to race and be good when you can do it once or twice. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really. For me, I was trying to run more wing sprint car stuff, and those guys race all the time. It was pretty hot and cold.
Yeah.
So that part sucks, but it's fun. It's like fun.
So with the, I think it works out well since, the movement of what seems to be the most popular thing going across the country as far as Harley Davidson is performance. Mm-hmm. Over the last year and a half, basically, it's just continued to grow with, people wanting to put more money into the motor and suspension nowadays and less money into the cosmetics of motorcycles. So have you felt the difference, from like any growth in business or anything, fit like that?
A lot. It's gotten a lot busier the last 2 years. I think a lot of it is more. I think people are getting a little bit more centralized on what we're doing to these bikes in the industry. Like everybody's combos are relatively close to the same stuff, but it seems to be people are more tuned on to making them run better than they were back in the day where they were putting big wheels and shit on them.
Yeah, I think that after a while, everybody just kind of gets a little burnt out, and then you get a real rush from riding a fast fucking bike.
Right. Yeah.
You get that. You get a high from having a really badass bike and a lot of people staring at you and giving you thumbs up. You get something from that, but just something fucking retarded fast where you feel that wheel coming up every time you hit, especially a Harley, not like a crotch rocket, but a Harley, and you're getting that rush, and it's like it's a different vibe, man. I think that it becomes a very addictive drug after that point of wanting more and more and more, and you want that wheel to come up just a little easier every time, and less clutch and more, you know what I mean? So it's like when I rode over there to that dude's house to get that tire. I guess that you did that 124 in that dude's dyno.
Yeah, Vince's. Yeah,
dude, that thing was just fucking all over the place up in the air.
It's a beast. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
And
then what's the dude on the white bike had in that? Just
Jake.
Yeah,
we did a 107.
He's the one that got us a tire.
Yeah,
dude, he was on a belt drive, ripping it up, just rocking them out down the street. And I was like, I feel like a little bitch right now.
Yeah, his bike's a 10. We did that build last year. It's just a 107 flat top build with stock heads and a cam, throttle body, and pipe and a tune. but it runs really good.
Damn.
Yeah, it runs good. Dude, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. A 107 and a newer Dyna, that's all you need. You can make them run mid 120s on horsepower and torque, and that is
Wow.
a ball.
That's crazy.
You don't got to go too crazy. I think it's just a good balanced combination. That cubic inch with that weight bike and the power and how it comes in the RPM range. I mean, they're fun to ride.
So you got all these people that are really just trying to jump down the S&S, path, just dropping it in a, 124 or 111. But, you could potentially get good numbers without going into the bottom end.
You can. You get the bottom end stuff is just more reliability. At some point, it's not gonna, it's not gonna be there. So anything we do in house, I don't do many builds that we don't do a dark horse crank on it. At least balance it and weld the pin and put a Timken in it.
So I'm not a huge knowledgeable on that stuff. So what is when you do balance or you have that stuff, what is actually taking place? I mean, I should probably asking Dark Horse that, but
right.
Just for the education purpose for me and whoever might not know, what are they doing to the cranks that make them better than stock?
Well, they lighten them a bit and they balance it, but mainly they put the Timken bearing thing, and that's the biggest part of it because it holds the pressure on the flywheels from doing that. And then they weld them. And there's different options. You can do different rods and stuff. But if you balance it, put a Timken in it, weld it, it's pretty much bulletproof.
For real?
Yeah. And that ain't that expensive. It's relatively easy, but it's almost a must if you put, some sort of power to it. If it's a guy that likes to ride long distance and wants the thing to last, 40, 50, 60, 80,000 miles. That's a big deal.
Yeah, because I noticed the last two bikes the last two Dynas I bought, they've had Timken motors in there.
Right.
And high mileage bikes. One was 140-something thousand miles on it. Check the run out, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, non-Timken bike, you might get them from the factory and they're 9,000.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it, That's bad.
Yeah.
That's way too much.
Yeah, I didn't even know that shit, man. My friend Mark from Texas Performance, before I met him, I used to just my buddies come through hey, let's put this cam plate in here. We never checked runouts and none of that shit.
Yeah,
We're
right.
just man, get this one. It's cheaper. Go get a Screaming Eagle thing. We got I got these used cams over here. They're fucking wearing already and shit.
Right. Yeah, that don't work.
Yeah, redneck shit basically.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm more fascinated with it by now even looking at the little transmission you got over there, it's I want to go buy the tools now and I have a transmission I need to take apart to get the cases done or get them all powder coated and stuff. And I hate not knowing how to do something. That's the worst feeling in the world, of just being I know there's certain, I'm never going to make this. I'm never going to cast this piece and have it. That's just not in my realm of life that I'm going to even try to get to. But seeing something and being well, I have all kinds of nice, expensive tools, but I literally know not the first bolt to pull out of this transmission case to take this apart. It just makes me feel like a little bitch. You know what I mean? and it's I want to do it just to have it can't be that hard. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, dude, the Harley manuals are killer.
They are.
I mean, it pretty much spells it out exactly how to do it. I mean, if you can read it, then you should be able to
figure it out. Yeah.
But I say that, and I've seen some fucked up shit where there's a lot of people out there that are you go, how does this happen?
Yeah, like me just putting in a cam plate, never checking the run out.
Right, and you go, what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely guys like me out there. So, but no, that's kind of one thing I've wanted to get into. It's not that I want to do it for customers. But I've been finding some killer deals on bikes lately, and I've been wanting to go more deep into motor stuff. And even though my buddy Mark is the best and he's willing to help me with everything, he's still 2 hours away from me, 2.5 hours away. It's not, we're both super busy, so it's always an inconvenience for either one of us. And it's I just want to be able to, if I'm late, if it's late and I don't have anything to do and I got a couple hours, I can go ahead and split these cases. Send the flywheel out myself or whatever, or, just have the tools that have the means.
A lot of that stuff, I don't split cases here. I send any builds we have or we do to Dark Horse because it is so perfect when you get it back. I mean, it's just it's awesome. I mean, it's perfect. So I always kind of was hey, that's what that dude does. So. Yeah. Which you can put them together and all that stuff, but we always, on someone's build for the customer, it's always better to go, this is who I use. They're bad, and I'm just, this is part of it.
Also, when for business purposes, if you're selling this due to motor build, and you just say, okay, well, this is how much to have the bottom end done,
right?
And you know that they're going to stand behind their work, and they already put out a quality product and service, then it saves you the hassle of not knowing whether or not you or
what happened
torqued
here.
it right, or
exactly,
all that type of stuff. So that makes perfect sense to do something
for the in-town guys. That's kind of just the better. They just do such good work. It's kind of hard to not.
Where are they out of?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of the Harley guys are up there.
Yeah, the hardcore people like that. Yeah. I mean, Revolution does really good bottom end work too, and they're right close to each other. There's a lot of hardcore performance dudes are in Wisconsin, like Suburban Motors. You've heard of them? They're a Harley shop up there, but they have a speed shop on the side. This guy named Rick runs it, and dude, they build bad shit. Like they have a full service, top to bottom engine deal. They have their own line of Malley pistons and cylinders and cams, and they make really good stuff. So it's pretty cool because they're a dealership, but they're also on the other side. You can go there and get top quality engine work. Yeah, totally.
So you started doing the dyno, so when you got your one dyno, what did you do to that? Just kind of like just the throttle body, the basic stuff, or did you kind of dive into that thing and get it fully built out? Or
in my bike?
Yeah, your first dyno.
Yeah, I just put a throttle body on it, an air cleaner, a bolt-in cam, and a thunder header, and tuned it, and rode it like that for a year maybe. And I was like, this is not enough. So then I built a 107, which is in it now. It's Dark Horse bottom end, and did a T-Man kit. And that was way better.
Way
better. But I used my bike to learn how to tune. Like Eric, none of us went to school, like Dynojet school. We bought the dyno up there. Eric just, put his bike up there and started fucking around.
Yeah, just figuring it out.
And then that's it. And same thing I did. Obviously, it was easier to call him, yo, dude, what did I do here? But I just used my bike to try to learn how to do that stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So here in Indy, is there a lot of other bike shops, or are you kind of like one of the main ones or only ones, or?
There was a few. There was a place Victor Drive V-Twin on the east side, but the main guy there went to work at Revolution Performance in Wisconsin like last year, and they kind of slowed down a bit. And then there's a Harley shops. That's about it.
For real. How's the bike?
Well, no, there's a good dealer of ours on the south side, the Solenberg and Smith. Some older guys. They make they're really good at doing big inch Evo stuff and big power stuff.
Big stuff. Do you think the Evo, that's a good question. Do you think that the Evo, what do you think is really just a power maker for the less money? You think it's like going Evo or twin cam?
I don't know, man.
I've heard a lot of people say some stupid numbers out of Evos with some basic bolt-on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they run. Everyone says that if you have an Evo and you have a problem with it, you have to fix it. The best thing to do is just buy an SNS 111. That's what I have in that FXR over there. And everyone that has one says they're just bad, dude. They run great. They're smooth. And they make good power. They make in the 120s, and they last forever. So I don't know. The Evos, I've always obviously I like newer stuff. Twin cam's like my favorite engine, but. You get a dude it's got an older Evo Dyna with thunder header. Yeah, you with a thunder header on it. It's got a big Woods cam in it. I don't think anything can sound that good.
Yeah.
You go, that's fucking cool.
I mean, literally, when I bought my bike, the Evo was bone stock, and it was the slowest thing I've ever been on. And the only thing I've done up to this point is I put a Mikuni carb on it. I put that exhaust off of Jace's FXR, and then I did the air cleaner.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's already twice as fast.
Yeah.
It's a totally different engine already.
Just opened it up.
Just opened it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's I barely spent any money on that.
Right.
Maybe $500.
They just sound good though.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I'm kind of excited about the two dynos that I got, with them already being Timken, bottom ends and stuff like that. And, now that I'm getting my eyes towards more performance oriented stuff, it's I'm looking at everything from a power to weight ratio. So now I used to all be into newer baggers, but now I'm
right.
I like the 07 and down now because they look lighter. I don't know if they are technically.
I don't know.
But they seem like a more narrow bike, a lighter bike, and I feel like you can get more power out of it.
Right.
And just put some retarded shit in it, and now you got a wheelie bike.
Yeah.
That's what that's how I've been looking at it.
I've put together a bunch of 98-inch kit, T-Man 98-inch kits with He had his 625 cam, so 98 inch, like 10.8 to 1 compression, his heads, and that cam, and dude, they rock. Makes like 118 to 20 on the horse and like 100 foot-pounds of torque, and it's killer. And if you got an old Timken bearing motor, but you don't even got to mess with the bottom end. Put a cam plate in it, put that top end in it, it would rip. They're good.
So when did y'all get like picked up by drag and stuff like that?
I think we went in drag in 2009, maybe.
For real?
Yeah, 2009 or 10.
So how is that? What was it like going into that? I mean, I know the demand and because do they buy in bulk basically?
Yeah.
Just
They
to
do
fill the
like every
warehouse?
6 weeks order. It depends. It usually seems a little bit busier in like midsummer and then in the midwinter. It's good. The best. They don't have our entire product line because obviously there's margins are different than if we sell directly to a dealer. But the best thing about drag is that it puts your product in every counter of every bike shop there is pretty much. So it's like it gives the person an option to see if the stuff is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like I think I was just at my friend's shop and one of the drag reps was there and they were talking about it's like if they put everybody's product line, they wouldn't be able. They don't have enough of a facility to stock it all.
Right.
You
But
know?
their how they run that deal is killer. I mean, we're a drag dealer because we use it on parts for bikes in here, but you order enough, you get your stuff next day. I mean, you order on Tuesday, it's your Wednesday, and their prices are good. It gives you some margin to move around on with some customers. So they put whatever they can get in there, but they are always good about if something's not working, it's out. They don't keep it full of junk.
Yeah, they're not
which is
going
good.
to play games.
Right. They're like, hey, this ain't working. Peace.
It's out. Yeah. Yeah, because I know, Misfit, they had picked up Misfit a while back, and then I don't know, I heard Misfit was about to fold. I could be just making up I could be like co-signing on a rumor or something like that. But, Misfit started making all those triple tree short necks for like baggers.
Big wheel baggers, yeah.
And then they started doing all this product line. They brought handlebars on and fenders. And they did the fender thing, and then one of the people in drag that kind of do like RWD or Russ Warmine or something like that. He's got 30-inch fenders in there for $250 or $300, which is cheaper than everybody in the world. So it's like, well, there's no point in making fenders anymore because that's so cheap that there's no profit margin anymore.
Right.
Why even
why even do it?
Why even worry about it? And I don't know where I was going with that, but I was just like, it was something on my mind. No, but it's the drag thing seems cool. It seems like a lot of people want to get their stuff in catalogs, but I've seen it on both ends where people couldn't keep up with the demand. Maybe they're new to the manufacturing game and
well, you got to think about the margins too. Their margins are different. You're selling your product to them a lot cheaper than you would sell it directly to the dealer, but the premise of it is that it gets it to the dealer faster.
Yeah, it's like selling.
So the profit by volume.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly Walmart profit by volume. Yeah.
Yeah, so it works in. But I mean, it's good that your shit's in there though, because like you said, there's a lot of dealers across the country that may not be on Instagram and Facebook and may not be hip to what's going on in the industry and might not heard of you, might have not have heard of you.
Well, and we get a lot of calls from people. They're like, "Oh man, dude, I didn't even know these throttle bodies existed, and I was in drag, but I need this size." And I'll be like, "Well, we got that."
Yeah.
And then they may sign up to be a dealer for a couple products, and the ones that are in drag, they'll buy them from them.
Yeah.
So it does work on that side of it. Not
That's
all
good.
the time, but you do get that.
So, you were talking in the dining room. Can you talk about the idea of you were wanting to start pushing the exhaust thing? Do you have some ideas with that?
Yeah. We, like I said earlier, we've never really tried to get into anyone else's market on that side of it. So the people that, a lot of the performance places, like our best dealer, like Cycle Solutions, he's a good friend of mine. He's Zach at Kendall Johnson, same thing. T-Man, I've known him since I was 17 years old. So these dudes, they do really awesome shit, and they got really good packages, but they push our product with it, so we can't really get into that. The exhaust side, we kind of just want to keep it like it's an exhaust that my buddy Billy, who welds these things, is about the baddest dude with a torch you'll find. I mean, he's really good. So we've kind of been trying to make it like the Dyna exhaust we do. They make power more than most people's, and they're nice and they fit right. we're not trying to get into every single style. We kind of just want to keep it like, you're going to get a piece that's a stainless exhaust that makes power and is really reliable.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So we're kind of like more air in and air out. And plus that doesn't put us into a weird place where we're trying to expand our deal into places that people need our shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense, but I think it's good that that you sell more than just the throttle body, because, I think I was talking to your mom about it earlier. It's like, me not being deep into motors in my earlier years in the motorcycling, I was never looking at throttle bodies and bigger things like that, like as an option. I was like, man, I just need a pipe, an air cleaner, maybe a cam and a cam plate and a tuner.
Right.
Tops,
And it's weird because even, these have been around. These bikes are fuel injected.
Yeah.
Dude, every bike's been fuel injected since what, 2011?
Yeah.
Or 10? All models?
I think the 7 was all models.
Right. 07 all models,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's still shops where guys are like, oh, fuel injected bikes, fuck that. I don't want to get into it. I don't know. It scares them. They're older guys that know how to work on carbureted bikes, no problem, but the fuel injection thing, they're like, fuck, I don't, So they're missing that, But it's still relatively new in this industry. Every car's been fuel injected since, the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of new.
Shit,
still
I remember
in that.
back in 01, 02, man, like even sport bikes were still, some of them were still on the carburetor.
Right. So in the bike industry, it's still relatively new and that side of it. But
I thought I was getting lower.
yeah, you were looking like you were dropping, dude. I'm like, you got shorter.
Fucking chair kept going down and down. I wasn't gonna say nothing though.
But no, that's cool though. That, but yeah, like I was saying, man, it just seems like having options. That's kind of where probably it could be a bad thing, but I think it's great for the industry. Is like, especially now that if we're talking about the more performance oriented stuff in the industry, when you have a couple options, because a lot of people make pipes. Some people post numbers, some people don't. Some people it's just about the looks, and who knows. But it's all being sold as a performance product, and there's not a whole lot of numbers behind each one to match.
Right.
Which, of course, we all know that the numbers are relative to the
person's
rest of the
dyno,
package,
right, and what they did and who
and-
tuned it. That's the biggest part and the problem with our product line is it's why I'm on the phone more than half the day is that, you can sell this to a dude, but he takes it to a guy that dynos it and has no idea what they're doing, and then they call and they're like, yo, what the fuck, I bought this shit, and the guy I bought the engine parts from said it would make this, and you said it should make this, and it made this, and you ask them these questions, and it's like, you can give them all the best stuff, but if they go to a place that can't get it out of there, then the last piece they bought was this, and they're like, that's a problem. Well, not really. Most of these kits are proven. The shit's just numbers, dude. I mean, that thing, if those two bikes are the same, they're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
So not exactly, but they're going to be pretty close. So that's the biggest part in this industry that's a problem, is that there's still a lot of people that are trying to do this or have dynos and shouldn't have them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing. Tuning these things is, now there's some auto tuning systems like Thunder Max, and you can buy the Power Vision deal that stays on the bike, but if you still have to set them up. Now Thunder Max is probably the best thing going for the consumer that doesn't have access to a dyno, because their map base is big. They have a lot of options for that, and the system works relatively fast to get the bike going. So if you got enough time to refresh the map and do your thing, that's good. But if a guy buys something where he still has a tuner where he has to take it to somebody, that becomes an issue.
Yeah, I ran a Thunder Max on my 2012 Road Glide, and I remember sitting in the garage and finding the kit closest to what I had, and
loaded
uploading
in,
it and doing the runs on it to get it to do what it said to do in the book and everything. It was fine.
Yeah. So I mean, you got that is a killer for someone that's halfway mechanical that can go in there and do that. That's awesome. But it doesn't work for every single kit.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I really wanted to get the peak of what I could get out of my setup, I know that going to a dyno with an experienced person that knows how to tune.
And it's like that. Like you can go, Chris at Cycle Solutions. He is the best out there with Thunder Max.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is the best, and he's gonna go there and make your bike run just as good as someone else that can manually tune it and go in there. Now, if you take your bike and you just run it on auto tune forever and take it to a dyno and try to make a pull, it might not be there because it needs to see things. He's good at the software. That's the whole thing. He knows that he changes it. It's good to go. So there's like a premise, and with some people that think that you can't make as much power with an auto tuner as you can like someone writing a map. That's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, that's not. As long as someone knows who's setting it up, that's how it goes.
So when did you start getting into like going to Born Free or all these type of things? Or is that something relatively new for you as well?
No, well, Chip at San Diego Customs is a good friend of mine, and we've done business together for a long time. And he's been asking me to go out there for a while. And last year, finally, I was like, all right, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna actually leave work for once. They went out there and did it. It was a pretty cool show. I was kind of blown away just because it was different. Like we go to the V-twin trade shows and stuff like that, but it's not nothing like the
it's
Born
nothing
Free
like
deal,
that.
you know? That was cool for me.
It's different. Like you're in more of a. It's just a more open, fun party.
Right.
Get to know all the people you follow on Instagram atmosphere.
Right.
It's really
that was
just
pretty much it.
It's really just homecoming for Instagram, is what it is. Right?
Yeah. Because there's so many people like, oh man, I bought one of your breathers. Because we've been trying to make like our V2 air cleaner. Like if you have a Dyna, and if you want to be cool, you should have V2.
Yeah.
We've been trying to do that.
Get
shit,
one day.
So there's like a lot of people that have come. They're like, oh man, I got one of your breathers. It's awesome. That was the best part about it because like there was that whole Dyna side of it that was a different group of us kind of people.
That's what the Dyna scene. That's what I take of it. Even though I'm not trying to say anything bad about any of them, but it is like a very like tribal type thing with these kids where they just like they click up and want to run this part in this thing,
right?
And then they push the fuck out of it, and that's kind of like it's good for industries. It's good for guys like you and hell even me. Like when 5 dudes all got Simpson helmets painted by me, and that's kind of like their thing is to have that,
right?
Just like some of them are like all of them got to have a Fab 28 exhaust or or something, all the stuff that Chip does at his shit, That's kind of what the scene looks like. It looks like everybody, like you got your Saddleman crew and then your Lucky Dave's crew.
Right, yeah.
And then your, your BMC crew on this side of town. And it's kind of like, you remember The Warriors?
Yeah.
That movie? They're all like meeting.
Right.
So it's like, a lot of people get into that whole like thing. And then, I think it's cool. It's a good thing. You know what I mean?
It is part of, it's the, you got your... this industry has so many stereotypes. Like every guy with a street glide,
100%
is like the street glide crew. That's what that is. So the Dyna scene, I think, is like that in other places. Like when I met all these guys here, how I met these dudes, the Crossroads crew, which.
So those are the guys who were here earlier?
The guys who do all those wheelies. They're like they're really good. There was a group of them that were all into riding, but then there was this other kind of group of dudes like Vince and Kyle and Andrew that works here. They like way into performance, so they want their bikes to run really good. Like Vince with 124, Kyle's got a 107, and Andrew, who works here, has a 124 that we put like B2 heads on it. It's 12.5 to 1. It's nasty. It's
real.
So there's like that group of Dyna dudes too that like want badass shit. Like they want their shit to run really good. And those clicks are in other places of the country too. You have that. It's like that everywhere.
Yeah, I was telling them we were out there, like when we first walked out when they were all showed up, and I was talking to what's his name from Porterville? I don't know.
Ethan.
Ethan. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not great at names either.
I'm terrible.
So I went out there. We were talking to Ethan and stuff, and we walked right past that kind of bluish, greenish turquoise bike. Mm-hmm. And then we were all talking and walking around, and I walked back over and then I see all the shit done to it. I'm like, holy fuck! Like motor, he's got that new grudge box in there.
Baker grudge box. I
guess
top line tubes,
everything. And I'm like, God damn, there's a ton of money in this bike.
Yeah.
And I walked past it because it was a solid color, and I didn't think it was a custom bike. I just it's another Dyna in the parking lot.
Right.
And I think that what I try to tell people, even though I know custom paint does nothing for performance of any kind of thing. I've always kind of stuck with this idea, and it's a thought that it's not proven, but I feel like for industries or for like genres of styles to stick, it's like it has to be profitable for all the types of customizing across the board.
That you do.
So, like if like put it like this, if when you do a custom show or you do a show, which I know that some of us aren't really into shows, but if it's just all like, oh, S&S motor, this guy's exhaust, S&S motor, Lucky Dave seat, this exhaust, this fairing.
Right.
Eventually, you need something like paint in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
To draw your attention to this bike and accentuate all the things you did into it.
Right.
I mean, I feel like, so what I'm saying is like, for that part of an industry to grow, it has to be something that's like people are doing the whole spectrum to make the bike custom.
Right. I like
Otherwise-
the thing that when you go, like whenever I go to a bike show or when I was at Born Free, I was walking around and you see a guy with a killer paint job, but his shit's just like bone ass stock, like wheels, breather. The thing does not run good. His pipes are blued, and you're like, yeah, it's a cool paint job, but dude, you know.
Well, see, that's
and
the-
you get to a bike that you see, like I saw yours last year, and I was like, damn. I'm like, that is cool. That caught. There's things on it that caught my eye. But when you look at a guy's bike and he's got like everything done to it, you're like, oh man, that's pretty legit.
Well, see, like what I was fortunate for is that my bike was flashy, so it hid all the oil leaks,
Right.
all the duct tape reminisce from leftover when we lost our axle and shit like
The
that.
Ace
But, all right.
hardware bolts.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
don't.
why I always dug Chip stuff
Yeah.
because
He does put together nice bikes.
dude, killer shit.
Yeah.
But he puts all his bikes make big power. Like he's always into buying the, you know, he's used Dark Horse forever too, same style stuff. But he's like, his bikes are cool and they're flashy and they're awesome and they look cool, but they're also bad. You know, they like got the best stuff in them and they make big power. That stuff to me is
What
cool.
I'm interested in is like, I know Hot Dog does a lot of paint on some of the engine parts.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see what those look like after some heat cycles
Right.
and maybe a
like,
run.
I mean, how does that really work?
You know what? When back in the old days, like in the chopper days,
Right, 'cause they used to paint the shit out
we
of
used to
everything.
paint full motors, like painting in the fins and everything.
Yeah.
But you know, and that was kind of like my perception on that is I never really saw these dudes riding these things across country, which who the fuck wants to on those old choppers that are fucking 14 feet long.
Yeah.
But you know, I thought it was like something they'd ride into a show, park it, everybody looked at it, ooh ah, and then went on about their business. And usually one of those chopper dudes had like a rider they had, and that's kind of
Right.
what I took. But I just don't know how that holds up because I've painted engine parts on like, you know, sport bikes before, and that's fucking water cooled, you know what I mean? And that's bubbled up, and I'm sure there's something out there, but I just thought
Right.
I've always tried to avoid doing things that could potentially be something I would have to warranty.
Yeah.
You know, like
that shit sucks.
It's really even if I charged you 10 times as much, the fact that I might have to do this over again is not worth it to me.
Right.
I'd rather just not do it. You know, but no, yeah, like his bikes are super nice, man, and a lot of dudes out there in Cali do have nice bikes. You know, Valley Customs does some really nice
Yeah,
bikes out there.
absolutely.
Booster Brad does some nice bikes, and I think what I'm saying is that like. I can't go in a parking lot and geek out on 14 black Dynas with S&S motors.
Yeah.
You put it like this: in a parking lot, which I know this is not what these bikes are made for.
Right.
They're all the same to me.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to make them different is maybe the wheel select. The aesthetics are going to make a difference,
Right.
basically.
My Dyna, everything I ever owned, and all my race cars were black. Everything I own is black. So my Dyna is just every single part on it's black, and
Yeah.
and everyone makes fun of me because you miss it. But I just literally changed every almost nut and bolt on it. But you walk by it and you're like, fuck it's
Well,
black. Because
that's-
I do the same thing. I go, oh, it's a fucking black Dyna.
Yeah.
There's like a million of them. There's just another black Dyna.
Yeah.
That's it. Just another gay black Dyna.
I just rode out here on another black Dyna.
literally
Right, yeah.
all black Dyna.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yes. Just that's what I say all the time.
I feel like I'm one of the few Dynas with just chrome existing still.
Yeah. I like the chrome on your bike. I feel
I
like
do
it has
too,
a
man.
nice touch.
I didn't like chrome whenever I bought it, but I fucking love it now.
I want to build a Dyna. I got this 05 Dyna over here. I thought about doing and painting it black, but then doing every part on it in black chrome. You know, where it's like that grayish,
Yeah.
dark,
Oh,
like
yeah, I know what you're
rocket
talking about.
boxes, front tubes.
would be dope.
That
That would be cool.
This
That'd
would be
a little,
dark.
it'd be a little bit different than actually black.
Right. It'd
Yeah.
be dark, but it wouldn't be dark.
Yeah.
That's
that'd be-
cool.
Well, I think that the big difference is that like I've grown up in this industry having to have paint to show off our bikes,
Right.
and you came from the other end where you really just were building these fucking phenomenal motors, and who
Yeah,
gave a
so
fuck?
nobody gave a fuck about
Yeah,
the
no.
paint.
We just
Yeah.
want to blow tires off them, yeah.
They're clean and shit. It's like back before I got into paint, I used to be into import cars. I used to do like Skyline, not Skyline, but like Nissans. We used to put all the Japanese
Right.
motors in these cars, and we did a couple Skyline things and shit. And I had the ugliest piece of shit car, 240 SX you could ever see in your life. It was maroon fender, primer gray door. I was gonna paint it one day. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Corner panel. I tried to shave the fucking antenna hole and shit. It's still a patch of metal on there because I can't weld very good or MIG weld. But that motherfucker will walk anything. I've used to walk Vipers. We used to do street like highway racing down there, and I had that bitch fucking running, dude. The SR20 2.0 liter with a fucking like standalone. What did they say on fucking Fast and Furious?
Standalone ECM.
Yeah, I had all that shit done, and I was geeked out, and I was working in the shop, so I had access to all those type of things, and the motherfucker ran.
Right.
What was good for us is because pulling up. Well, I never raced for money because I've always been a broke dick when that came to it. But it was always great, like pulling up on the highway and some rich dude in a Porsche or some shit, which I did. I got my ass handed to me on it. Great story.
Here we go.
Great story. So when I left the car thing, I got into sport bikes. I used to do that shit, and I was into wheeling. And then once I survived that, and I was like, I think I'm gonna start just hauling ass. I had a Gixxer 600, it was like a 03, 04, something right around there. And I remember I was leaving a bike night one night, and a 600 Suzuki, it'll pretty much walk anything on the street. On the street, maybe there's definitely stuff on the street that'll get me. Well, that night something got me. And it was like a Porsche. It was a basic bitch looking Porsche. And he just sucked my ass up on the highway. And I felt like the biggest bitch in the world to be on a sport bike and lose to a car. Because back in like 05 when this happened, the Supras and all that shit was like, that those things are putting out power. Most of them were.
Right.
But you just didn't think of Porsches as pulling that hard, and man, it got my ass pretty nasty. Needless to say, I sold that bike 2 months later. got a
All cocky.
Yeah,
he's all cocky and shit, pulling up to the porch like,
where's that motherfucker?
Where's he at?
Yeah,
and then he fucking takes off.
Yeah, that shit was crazy back then, man. Did you ever get into sport bikes at all, or mess with any of that shit, or was it?
Nah, not really. I rode one a couple times that a friend of mine had way back in the day, and I really wanted one. But my parents said no.
Yeah.
Which was probably a good idea because it probably would have ended bad. But
the thing is with those things is that they're fast as fuck.
Yeah.
Just the weight, those things. They come out of they're fucking essentially little motors that you could put in cars, inline fours that essentially run are just like something you put in a Honda Civic or something, but you're putting it on something that weighs 350 pounds.
Yeah.
And so those things are fucking they're rockets. And back when I got on them, the bikes were a little bit larger, and they, over the years, got smaller and smaller and smaller, and essentially faster. Like, the power was still the same. They were still putting 130 horsepower out of those things. But now
the bikes down.
The bikes weigh less. So, there used to be something called a salvage yard for sport bikes, but now they're fucking dust. And when they, like
Smoke
a bird,
it's done. Yeah.
Feathers.
Like you're behind a truck full of rocks and just fall apart.
Dude, the bikes would, they were just destroying these bikes when they would wreck them because they were too small, and they're flipping, they're going crazy because you can't handle it.
Right.
And you get that, like, if he would have started on a sport bike, I'd have been scared as fuck.
Yeah.
Letting him do that because it's there. Like, you got to earn it for the Harley. You have to afford it and earn it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it's there when you buy a sport bike.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
there
you're not
already.
even ready for it.
No, you're not. No.
Yeah, so there's a big difference there, and I think that's also good. A lot of kids are jumping on Harleys right out the gate now, which is another good thing.
Yeah, that is actually 100% true.
That's good for the industry.
A lot of my friends who have never had a bike before, they're going straight to Harley.
Yeah.
And they're asking me shit like, should I get a Softail or?
Do y'all do anything? Y'all do any throttle bodies and stuff for Sportsters and shit like that? Or y'all do?
Yep. Yes.
So is there like performance Sportsters, like for sure?
Yeah, they got like flat track bikes and all that shit.
Hammer Performance builds 1250 kits that are nasty.
I heard if you do, like you get the 883 and you keep that and then you do like a 1200 in it.
It's fucking beefy. It's pretty beefy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hammer Performance kit, cylinders and heads and a cams deal and throttle body, and it's like it's a killer, dude. Sportsters are like
Light.
They are the fastest production Harley that they have ever made.
Yeah,
because they're
I
light
agree.
and they make power and they're awesome. People are like, oh, they're chick bikes. Well, they were for a while, and they may you have one, but they may look like it, but they're fast.
Nah, dude,
they are.
I love Sportsters, man. I honestly, that's one of my favorite bikes. I mean, I like those more than I like Dynas, but I ride Dynas because
because we made fun of them. So
they made
much.
fun of me. So
everyone makes fun of a dude on a Sportster.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah,
Well, the way you got to do it though is you just got to get your shit dialed in, and you just lift it up on the one wheel,
Or just smoke them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're in the position that my friend's in, where he rides with me. So my friend's got a Sportster, and we all got Dynas. And every time he's riding with us, you know, he's got like T-bars and stuff, but he's got like a baby Dyna. So
Right.
that's what the fuck we call it. Is we're just like, what's up, baby Dyna? You know, like that's what it is.
It is that, yeah. They're still cool though.
Yeah, they're cool as fuck. But I think if you're gonna have a Sportster and you're gonna build it like a Dyna, you might as well get a Dyna. But if you're gonna have a Sportster and you want to do some other shit with it, you know, then do that, because that's gonna make it different than a baby Dyna.
Well, I mean, when the Sportster is perfect because price-wise, it's an entry level, dude. It's for kids that are 19 and 20. Like, I can afford that payment.
Yeah.
But they can't buy a Road Glide that's $24,000.
Yeah.
So it's a different deal.
Yeah.
I think the Dyna was good because it was like guys bought Sportsters, and then the next bike they bought was a Dyna.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit more expensive.
What I like about the Harleys is that every one of them you can really put miles on them.
Yeah.
You know, they're all made
fucking
to travel.
rideable. Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about the new bikes?
The Softails?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you about your thoughts on it. I talk about quite a bit. I like the bikes. You know, I think that the hard part about it, the hard sell for Harley, is going to be the price point on this bike now.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
I think. Because of the point compared to the Dyna.
Yeah, you took a bike where you had a Dyna and you were at this price point, and then if you wanted, you know, the Lowrider S, which essentially was a pretty nice bike, you know, for someone that like you said, the 107 kit is a way better option to do.
Right.
But for someone to go buy a bike and finance it, that Lowrider S was a good start.
Good start.
But now you're basically, to get an average Softail, you're at a Lowrider S price tag.
Right.
And which is what, 16, 17, 18 grand?
18 grand, yeah, about.
And then, you know, $6,000 more, which if you're doing a 7-year fucking note with Harley is what, $50 more a month?
Right.
So I'm just going to go ahead and get a Road Glide.
Right.
And that's what I think is more happening and what's going to continue to happen, because why the fuck not, you know? And as far as the performance of it, I feel like they handle amazing. They have power. They're comfortable. The technology on it is
Killer.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'm really interested in that. I like the gauges. I like the tank options. I like a lot of it. I don't understand why they put inverted forks on the forward control model. You know, there's certain. It's almost like if you take certain parts off certain ones of the Softail models and put them all in one, then you got one sick fucking Softail.
Yeah.
You know. Like we were talking earlier, I dig that fucking Fat Bob rear fender. You know, I was like, you know, I think it's its own thing. I think it looks badass. I think it gives it that whole like beefed up tracker look to where you can kind of be more like just ripping and running, doing wheelies, hopping curbs, and you know, you're not worried about chipping the bottom edges of your fender and shit.
I think for Harley's standpoint, I mean, they came out with a lowrider, which it's like it looks like a Dyna. You know, you put T-bars on it. It's a Dyna, pretty much, minus the shock, but. They came out with a Fat Bob, and they kind of needed to do that, I would think, to come out with something that's different like that.
Yeah.
You know? They have to, essentially, make a change.
Yeah.
Because it's completely different. It looks completely different. I think it looks
I like
cool.
it.
I
want to see some more. I know that we don't have a lot of options for fairings when it comes to these bikes, other than resorting back to what we had on Dynas. But I'm excited to see if somebody out there, or even Harley themselves, can kind of create some type of fairing that actually looks
an image that works on that bike.
Yeah. You know, like somebody with some real fucking design skills. You know, there's got to be somebody at Harley that has some degrees in this shit, right? So just take that Fat Bob and all those edges and those curves you made that look good, and make a fairing that looks fucking good that goes on that. Not that gay ass fucking, what was it, the Sport Glide?
Sport Touring.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, okay, let's just you know, Ant-Man the fucking Street Glide front fairing, which if you're not a Marvel fan, Ant-Man like gets small.
Yep.
So it's just stupid, and then it limits the options for windshields. Like that bike, that fairing with T-bars. What the fuck? Like, do you just raise the whole fairing to the top of the bike? I mean, it's gonna look retarded. Like, so I don't really get that, and I feel like if they could just create a fairing Because, and I'm not saying because you got to have a fairing to be cool. I ride bikes cross country, and I ain't doing that shit on a fucking open front bike. It's horrible. You're fighting wind, which means that you get tired quicker, which means that you're not going as far as you need to go in a ride. So, if they were honestly, if they added a little bit more styling or some options for fairings or something for those bikes, I would probably be interested in buying one. You know, personally.
Right.
But right now, buying one and putting a Conley's or a Memphis Shades on there, I'll pass.
Yeah, it don't work. It don't fit that.
It's not that.
Right.
You know,
because it's been done.
Yeah.
On those.
You know, the one that Kraus was doing, and when I was talking to Jay from Fab 28, he said it best. I probably said it to everybody 1,000 times, but he said, you know what? We're not trying to make this look like a dyno. We're trying to make it look like whatever the fuck it's going to look like.
Right.
And
whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. And I think that is the best way to do it. Is like that's our new platform for performance motorcycles. There's too many.
Well, look
look
what they did with the Fat Bob. I mean, they went inverted front end, which is a bit wide.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're going in the right. They went in the right direction as far as what the aftermarket side was doing.
Yeah,
you know, but it's light, it's nimble, it's short. The engine platform it's got some kinks, but I think it'll
get worked out. And there's already
kinks,
repairs.
There was kinks in the Evo, came out. There's kinks in the twin cam. It's like anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I bought a Ford truck with the first power stroke in it and it blew up. So I mean, it's just part of it. But I think once they get that, I mean, that deal's all figured out. That's a good platform for someone to buy a bike and make it, you know, 150 horsepower and fucking rip it, you know.
And for that aspect, I'm pretty excited about it. Like I said, I feel like the aftermarket. I've been saying this to people. I think a year from now, those bikes are going to be the hot shit.
Yeah,
aftermarket's going to catch up. Kinks are going to be worked out,
right?
And options are going to become available. And I think that you know what's weird? There's like this. A lot of people I've been seeing of getting into these old sport bikes that kind of have this like square headlight that have a little fairing on it. It's kind of a. I know Oliver from Cut Rate has one, and Patrick from Royal T has one. They ride around. It's like this old sport bike, you know, air-cooled sport bike from like the 80s. And it's got this sweet-ass square headlight fairing. I got to find a picture now to post it for everybody to see. But I feel like that bike, with it having all those hard lines on it, those hard edges, you know, like a box Chevy or some shit, you know, it needs a fairing that has that boxier look, you know, a boxier kind of a, you know, Transformers feel, you know what I mean?
We were standing outside last night, and it was sitting outside in the dark when we were working on the trailer. Yeah. And Kyle, he was out there, and he's like, you know, he goes, this bike would look good with a fairing on it. And I thought, I never thought of that until he said that. And he goes, but not like anything we've had.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. He was like, it needs to match with this style of whatever this style is where somebody's imagining, but it doesn't need to be a Memphis Shades or
it doesn't need to be a
fairing.
knockoff of a T-Sport. It doesn't need to be a T-Sport or a quarter fairing or even the Lowrider S style fairing. It needs to be something that it's its own and designed without like honestly, like find someone that doesn't know shit about the dyno scene and say, hey, I need you to make a part that fits this area that flows with this bike. So they're going into it without the influence of what the scene wants in there. And I think that's the problem with guys like us, or at least myself and maybe somebody else. If we were going to design something, our head is stuck in that old mentality of a T-Sport fairing or a quarter fairing or an RT fairing or something like that. So you kind of need to be able to look at it with a fresh set of eyes that's not influenced by something else. But yeah, I feel like once the fairing comes along and there's an option for that, just like I said, riding a bike cross country, Jesse's doing it on the quarter fairing. How is that?
It's not that bad,
but does it work?
It works.
All right, I'm on the T-Sport fairing, and I have no like, I'm not feeling wind. My legs feel it, so you're a little bit wider on the legs when you're riding, but you're not getting beat in the chest, and your head's not being whipped all over the place.
That's the main part. Is like with the quarter fairing, it just kind of blocks a lot of the body wind. So it's like you're not getting beat. Like you don't feel like you're getting thrown around. You don't feel like you're
holding on to it.
Yeah, you're not like, oh shit, I'm gonna fall. You know, like it's not like that. But like your head whips around a little more than if you have like, you know, a Connolly's or a T-Sport or whatever.
Yeah, you got to think about it. Like when you say you jump on this bike, which we all know it's going to be some retarded power once you actually pull it on the dyno.
Yeah.
Let's just say you do that from here to St. Louis. Just ride it, right? you have the power. You're gonna
use it. Yeah.
How long do you think you can go at 70 plus with that wind just pushing your ass back?
Right.
Before you're gonna be like, this is not enjoyable.
If you're spending most of your ride scooting forward on the seat,
That's a problem, man.
then you need a fucking fairing.
Yeah, so
100%.
that's what I think is going to be the biggest game changer. And like I said, either it's going to be Harley is going to like sneak another one out here soon that gives us like that option to put something else on the bike, or one of these people that have the ability to produce parts are going to go into it with fresh eyes and make something that fits the bike.
Right.
And then it's all about the aftermarket catching up and making these bikes look cooler than Harley did. And then when that happens, people will start buying them.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like the tail kind of wags the dog sometimes in that aspect. Is sometimes the aftermarket deal kind of dictates where Harley's style goes. Every once in a while, not all the time, because they are what they're. I mean, without that,
They're what the fuck they want.
I've always kind of kept
exactly.
this concept that if you think about just cars, if we're thinking about cars, and let's just think of 1980 to 2000.
Right.
The only popular car in the 80s that's worth money is, I'm sure there's more. I'm just going to say it's a Grand National. It's a car that has a major aftermarket. There's lots of parts. There's lots of stuff for it. And the only reason maybe a normal Buick or a Cutlass or an Oldsmobile or a fucking Monte Carlo is popular is because they're all the same platform as the G-body or the G-body of the Grand National. So there's an aftermarket for that. So those cars are popular and they have a value to them. You know, nobody fucking wants an 83 Corvette.
Right.
Or an 84 or any of those 80s models Corvettes.
Right.
Hell, 82 Stingrays ain't even fucking worth a damn thing pretty much. But Camaros, all that stuff. But then when you get a car that has an aftermarket, you look at like the Fox body Mustang when that came out in the early 90s or what. I'm not a Mustang guy, but
yeah, me either. Yeah.
There's those Mustangs that came out and they're fucking still popular today, where people are, and you open a Jegs catalog and there's fucking there's a Mustang category for that year. So it's almost like the aftermarket, if they catch hold of what you're selling, it becomes something that's valuable and people want it for ages.
Well, you got to think that most of the time, how I have always thought it worked is that the bike industry is not a necessity of any means. You know, most people don't buy a motorcycle to have it for your everyday driver and never touch it. It's about the little scenes that pop up and the styles that people do to get the people all together and, you know, have something that they're all, you know, into. The performance side of it kind of, in recent years, I think has driven that a bit. Just because I think the bikes have now been a little bit easier to hop up, essentially. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, you know, there's a lot of exhaust, and the tuning software has come a long way, and it's easier for the consumer to buy something and make it cool and go to the bar and, dude, roll their dyno sheet out and go, yo, check it out. Yeah. You know, this is what I made, and then this guy goes, oh, fuck him, and then he outdoes it, and then that just rolls down the hill, you know, and it turns into something else.
Yeah, it's like a piston match for your friends.
And it turns into 20 dudes that are all buddies trying to outdo themselves.
Yeah.
And then people get paid, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of how that works.
But yeah, and that's kind of what it boils down to is, you know, is having, you know, the ability to customize it, make it look better, make it perform better. And one thing I like about fixing up Harleys and making them fast, which a lot of people are like, it's a stupid oxymoron to make a Harley fast, right? Because I hear that from people, like, it's not,
Really?
it's a touring bike that, you know, but I've always associated it to like an old Camaro or old Mustang or fucking Corvette from the 60s. Like, these muscle cars are the shit, right? I never felt like they were fast. I just felt like they had a lot of torque and they felt like fucking some manly balls
And
having
had some
shit.
style.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was just like you fucking revved it and it turned the fucking car.
And it
just-
went, you revved it and it went,
You know, it was just like it had like this meatiness to it. And yes, there are some fucking retarded fast ones out there, but you go look at like a Supra or a 300ZX or, you know, some of these twin turbo V6s that were coming out in the late 90s, RX-7, you know, the I think it's the third gen RX-7 and the second gen too. These things were making stupid power. They will fucking walk those things all day long, right? So I associate those guys as like the sport bike crowd, and these old Camaros and
the street glide guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you put an air cleaner, a throttle body, or something, and you take something that feels fast, but realistically you got 80 horsepower, You know, that's really what Harleys,
Right.
you know, come out with is about 80 horsepower, and it feels like you have this torque, so it's like the illusion of horsepower, but it's really just the torque, like picking you up out of your seat a little bit. And when you start putting shit in it and you start making these things fast, then it feels like 10 times better because it's like you worked for that horsepower, as opposed to just buying a sport bike or just buying a new
10 times better.
STI fucking WRX. It has
Well, that's the
stupid
coolest
power.
part about it is you go, okay, well, I want to put this in it. And you do your research and you buy that. And you think you're like, oh, fuck yeah, this kit's where it needs to be. Or if my buddy did this, I'm going to do something a little bit different. And make it feel like it's your own thing.
Yeah.
You know? And if it runs really good, it's even better.
Well, you know, you might be able to attest to this, and this is something I've just now thought of for this. But like, when it comes to racing, right? Not every race is just about the biggest horsepower and the biggest motor. Sometimes it's a race between like two things that are relatively in the same range, right? So it's like a skill level or a funness in that. Like you still get the rush out of racing, even though you might be racing a car that only has 200 or 300 horsepower. But you're still having to do it, and everybody else has that, so you're fucking with it.
Right.
As opposed to, like, getting the 800 horsepower car and going to hang out with the 200 horsepower guys and just walking their asses, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I feel like that with the Harleys is, like, you have that ability to just kind of have a lot more fun with feeling the
I
power.
still get people that are like, you can wheelie Harleys?
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Yeah.
You know, and then it's like, I see it all day, every day. Like, people wheelie in Harleys. And then somebody hits me with some shit like that. I'm like, where have you been? But then I have to realize that I'm in this culture.
Does anybody in like your friends in your world or family that's on Facebook and shit, but they're not really in the Harley industry? But then like anytime something comes across their page, it's like the unknown dudes or somebody doing wheelies and tag you in it. Like, have you seen this?
Like you haven't already seen it
like,
4
oh, yeah,
fucking
dude.
million times.
Yeah. That shit's always wild.
That's
man.
exactly what I'm talking about. You know, and I know there's people on sport bikes who send me shit like that, like the unknown guys, and they're like, "What? You can fucking wheelie Harleys, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's."
And you don't
How
even
did
need
you
big
not-
power to do that.
You
You
don't.
just need to know how to ride your fucking bike.
Yeah, you just need, dude. You see dudes out there with stock ass bikes that just know how to clutch it, know how to pull it up, and distribute the weight and get it up in the air. And I'm sitting here with all the power in the world, and you know,
I don't know how to. Dude, I've tried. I do not know how to fucking pull that thing.
I
up.
gotta have retarded power in my bike to be able to wheel it. Sport bike days.
I think I'm
easy.
just being a pussy.
Right.
Like I'm gassing it, but I'm like dropping it too slow or something.
Yeah, probably.
I think I'm just being a pussy.
Yeah, I'm not really into tearing my shit up. Because,
Me either, because I'm like, hey, this is my only form of transportation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
So I mean, dude, like, I guess you know, he was talking about, you know, you guys are looking to expand the shop and kind of get a bigger space. Is that more for the manufacturing side of things, or just getting?
Like I said, we have a pretty state-of-the-art manufacturing side of it.
Oh, you wanted to bring that here,
yeah.
right? Yeah, that's right.
So when we first got here, we were not doing the amount of units that we are now, and now it kind of doesn't make much sense because we're shipping stuff back and forth. You know, it used to be 2 times a year we'd make a run of stuff. It would come here. Now we're just way busier than that. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to expand it here and bring some machines here, so it's a little bit easier.
So the stuff you have back in Pennsylvania, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is they doing more than just the throttle bodies? Like you were saying, you have your hands in.
We
other
make
stuff.
fire equipment, like high pressure, quick connects around the side of fire trucks or any fire hydrants, stuff like that, or extruded style material that they machine for like couplers from hose to hose stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we make some automotive throttle bodies,
Nice.
different stuff like that.
So you're gonna try to open up more to have more of a like your local market kind of thing. You think maybe?
Yeah. I mean, essentially, in the perfect world, we want to bring just the throttle body manufacturing in one place and expand on that and streamline some of these product lines we have. We have almost too many options for a lot of stuff, so we want to kind of make it a little bit more.
Well, it seems
easier.
like you don't have a lot of, which I know it's probably small fries for you guys, but here, with you, listing off the shops and the other people in town, like you and the following you already have of local guys that dig all the power and shit. It seems like you could easily be a powerhouse if you're not already.
Well, we've been trying
locally.
What we want to do is I kind of want to be a destination. Like I want guys to go, all right, I want my bike to fucking rip. Okay, like good. I go there and it can be all done in house and tuned and be good to go, all in one place. That's kind of like the thing I would like to do in a perfect world. When we hired Andrew, who worked at the Southside Harley Shop, he started here about a year ago. He was parts manager there, and super good dude. And I was like, man, I really need this guy to come work here. Like, this is the key.
Yeah.
And I was nervous to ask him because I thought, well, fuck, he's the parts manager at the Harley Shop. He's never going to leave there, you know. And then I realized that it was kind of he was looking for something different. He got here. I'm like, this is going to be good. I can get done with some of my stuff I need to do, update inventory system, and we just got busier.
Yeah.
More people knew that he came here, and it allowed me to do a little bit more work, and he is good at working on bikes as well. So we kind of, me and him are jumping around. We do literally every single thing in the shop all the time. So I thought that was going to be a little bit different style. Then when I realized that some of the stuff that's going on in the city and how some of these bikes are running and what's going on, I thought, well, shit, you know, we could turn it into something a little bit more if we needed to. But at the time, like right now, we're turning away work.
Yeah.
Because we just can't get to it.
Yeah, exactly.
The Born Free deal kind of fucked that up because it was, you know, we have to get that done. But we did a bunch of engine kits this winter, and throttle body sales are really busy. So it's kind of like one of those deals where, you know, I can't do the guy justice if, you know, he's got to wait 6 weeks.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
don't work like that. So
Exactly,
I don't want that shit. So I can't really take on any of that plan forward without more square footage, because as you can tell, we're kind of like jammed in here, you know.
Yeah, well, I like what you said about making it a destination because, you know, for all the bike lovers in the world that are getting drugged across the country to do things, it'd be cool to be able to, man, there's this one badass shop. You're not far off 70.
Right.
You know, and somebody's passing through town, they could just stop in, get a T-shirt. You got nice merch to sell and stuff like that. Shake your hand. That's the kind of thing I like doing when I go out of town. You know, I'll if I don't know a shop personally, and it kind of helps me because a lot of people know us from our paint work. So it's like, oh man, you know, come by. But if I was just a normal guy, you know, passing through, you know, I don't know if I get the same hospitality, but you know, it's cool when you get
this fucking weirdo just pulling up.
Right.
I think it's cool to have shops like that, and I kind of always wanted to be that shop too. When people are passing through Dallas, like, man, I want to go meet these dudes I've been following, you know, because people will follow you online and like, you know, then they get to know you, and you know, but you don't really know them. And it's a weird relationship.
Right, yeah.
Where they come in like, man, like, so how was that trip you did last week? And you're like, what are you?
Yeah, I followed you.
Social media.
It is weird as fuck. It is weird. Everyone is connected all the time.
Yeah.
Everything. It's odd. It's odd.
You ever watch like those Netflix things like Black Mirror or any of that shit? Dude,
yeah, that shit
part of me wants
weird.
to see some of that shit happen, but part of me is like, yeah, I don't want to. That is the ultimate Twilight Zone type thoughts.
Right.
You know,
it's bad.
I was literally on the ride up here. You know, I don't listen to headphones and shit when I ride. I'm just like stuck in my thoughts, and I was thinking of that episode where the chick was like super nice because she was trying to get like her rating up.
Right.
Oh,
and she got it up high enough.
Yeah.
And then like a series of events put her down to where she was like low class trash in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was talking to that fucking trucker chick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, this is how my life got down to this low of a level and all this shit.
Yeah. And that shit was crazy. And I feel like subconsciously
that's kind of how it really is.
That's kind of how it can work on social media.
Yeah.
There's, what was her name? This chick raced sprint cars here. Mm-hmm. And she had Twitter and Facebook and a bunch of followers. And she went to school downtown at IUPUI. And they had a cop got shot. And they had a funeral down there. So had the street shut off. Yeah. And she went on some rant on fucking Facebook and Twitter. And dude, she got blasted. I mean, blasted. So she was on the local news trying to apologize, but her apology didn't really work very well. Okay,
well, she fucked up doing it on
She
Twitter.
fucked up. Yeah, she fucked up. And people were like roasting her, dude. She had to delete her Twitter, Facebook shit. She literally dropped off the face of fucking earth. Like, gone. She moved somewhere else because it was like she put it out there and everybody saw it. It's the same kind of thing. It was like, oh, I was this famous race car driver and I was going to do all this shit. And then I opened my mouth. And then I'm in this weird series of events.
That's what's crazy about it. It's like
social media does that shit because you can say it, but if someone didn't hear you, what the fuck? You know?
Exactly.
So you just need to shut the fuck up.
Sometimes
you just got to keep your jokes off the air.
Right. You got to shut the fuck up and do what you know how to do.
You can say some shit.
What did she say though? Like did she like?
She was pissed off about the traffic.
Oh, because all the people
blocking
traffic.
Something about this is bullshit.
So,
blah blah blah.
And she didn't know.
She knew. It was a cop funeral.
She knew that it was a cop. Okay, I was about to say, but if she didn't know, then how can you fucking crucify her?
Yeah,
But
no,
if
she knew it was a cop funeral.
If she knew, then she's fucked up. For
Yeah,
that.
you were like, you can't say that.
Yeah,
shit,
I can't even feel bad for her. Then.
Yeah,
No.
no. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it happened, man. It happened.
That is what's weird. It's like you see this a lot on. I know I see it a lot on like Instagram and stuff. But you see people that are constantly going on rants, and they're they may or may not bring that old school mentality of like cutthroat mentality of business in, where like when you're the Walgreens versus the CVS. Y'all have those up here? Mm-hmm. So
they're on the same corner.
They're on the same corner. So back in the 90s when we didn't have social media, that we were competing against whoever's on our block or whoever's in our city or our neighborhood or our street. And a lot of people have that old mentality of where they just, now they're on social media, but they're not looking at like this paint shop on the other side of the country as in like, oh, this dude's in another world. We're not in competition. They're looking at like, who is this guy that exists that does what I do for a living? I can be the only one, and people get it in their mind that they gotta, that everybody's their enemy and shit. And people get online and they start fucking, being the.
That's just not how it is, though.
Well, it's what I'm saying. It was a lot of people, a lot of mindsets were like that, and nowadays I think because a lot of us I've had social media since I got out of high school. As primitive as it was back then.
Right.
MySpace now it's
and shit.
now it's grown into some things where we all use it as a tool to connect, and hell, we're sitting here because of it.
Yeah, it's a weird deal because it like really drives.
It drives the industry now.
Side of this industry, dude, like big time, like really big time.
Yeah.
Like we post some stuff on Instagram, and 10 minutes later, someone will call and go, "Yo, I saw that high flow on Instagram. Is that for sale?" Yeah. Oh, okay, I'll take one. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like they're probably
like there's only one right here.
Right. There's like,
hey, is that one the one that's on that you just posted? Is that available?
But it's crazy because it makes. I mean, people use hashtags and stuff. They want to make sure they have the hashtag that makes them cool. I mean, and that's not just with bike industry. That's with everything.
Yeah.
But it really drives a whole side of an industry where people are running businesses. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The car industry, I think maybe it's like that, but I don't think it's as. I don't think it's not like.
Yeah, it is.
It totally is, dude. I was my wife Britta. We were in Santa Clarita, northern like L.A. area up in the mountains for a birthday a couple weeks ago, and we're all on this patio, right, and we're all hanging out, and this fucking looks like a local dude just for the area. He comes to this bar all the time, and he's kind of like the cool guy. He looks like the guy that sells everybody drugs at the bars.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's what he was. And he had some of his group friends. We were sitting outside around this little fire, so that's kind of like the congregation area. So me and another one of the guy friends that was with one of my wife's friends' boyfriends or something, we were talking. This guy started talking to me, and he's like, one of his friends was like, yeah, if you want to get your social media game up, you need to talk to this dude. I'm like, who the fuck is this dude? And he's like, he starts kind of schooling me on like social media and how to get good. And I'm like, let me see what you working with. And it's like $34,000. Like, what the fuck do you do? And he's like, and I looked at his shit, and it's like he has a Subaru WRX, and he just like posts pictures of it and hashtags people. I'm like, there are people that I find the most fascinating in the world on social media that post amazing shit. And they got like 5,000 or followers and shit. I'm like,
right,
what the fuck? And this queer that probably sells pills to fucking bartenders, and he's probably out there slinging Adderall or some shit. And he's like
selling Adderall to suburban moms.
Or guys like me and you and Brad and all these fucking talented people that have been building and creating stuff for this industry for years. And we're, getting bitched at from our wives from being on social media every day, like making posts and selling shit and doing this. And this queer over here is just
having a good time, making you
making
look
posts,
making me look. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and it's crazy. Same thing with YouTube, man. You look at like my kid, he watches YouTube. He would rather watch kids play video games on YouTube than physically play the games himself.
Mine too. Lane will sit there and watch someone play with the Thomas Trains, but he has the Thomas Trains right there. And he'll watch that for a while, and then he'll watch something else. He likes to watch kids. I mean, and that's
it's
not
a weird thing. Like, what's that going to create?
I don't know. But that's not.
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. Because I think that's relatively new.
Yeah.
That is relatively new.
I listened to a podcast. I can't remember which one that was, but they said that the generation of kids born in the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, by the time they're 25, they're going to be least dependent on technology because it didn't roll into them when they were we didn't go, oh, this is really cool. It didn't happen then. It was like just part of their life, and they'll be the most generation to smoke pot because by that time it'll be legal everywhere.
Yeah.
So those two statistics, I'm like, that's fucking.
So we're gonna have a plateau in growth.
Technology and more in marijuana. I'm like, that was an interesting.
So what's gonna
deal.
happen is we're gonna start reverting back to even more like actual tribalism.
Primitive shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we're gonna be much more like concerned with our town. Not
But I don't know what that.
not the world.
I don't
Hey,
know
that
what
one?
that does with the YouTube thing. I don't know.
Well, you know it's crazy because like I look at.
Well, I mean, they're kids, so they're watching other people, and that's how you learn.
You know, sometimes I'll sit there with my son and I'll watch some of them with him, and it's like literally like it's hustles now. Like dudes and their wife and their kids, and they're doing these like cosplay things, and you know they're trying to clickbait them on like, oh, check out Spider-Man because he's looking at a Spider-Man trailer, and next thing you know, there's this dude. You know what I mean? And they're making tons of money doing that.
Well,
shit.
I saw there was a Thomas video. Of this guy just unpacking Thomas toys.
Yeah.
He's got 6 million views. what the fuck? This guy's like 40 years old, and he's unpacking Thomas toys, and he has 6 million fucking views on YouTube, and I didn't understand.
There's certain things about the world that just piss me off.
Well, you ever hear that story about back in the way before my generation that somebody they sold something called My Pet Rock,
Yeah.
where it was literally just a rock in a box and you bought it and you had to have it because they would put it on like Saturday morning cartoons or some shit.
Right.
And it was advertised to kids and
Amazing marketing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing marketing.
Amazing.
Hey, go out back, get some more rocks out of the ground.
It's not
Yeah.
the same.
But that's what's crazy to me is that like you see some of these really talented people with which I'm not complaining about anything. I'm just saying that it's crazy. You got someone that can build a fucking complete road glider RT fairing out of aluminum, and he does a video on how to do it, and 10,000 views. Some chick does her eyebrows, 4 million views.
Right. 4 million views.
But she's got titties, bro.
No, it's not even the titties. It's just her fucking eye. Like it's just. But it's the same thing. Like people that do like there's a lot of people doing Harley videos of how to change your oil, how to change your cams and stuff. And those dudes get views. I mean, what do we do when we need to figure out how something works?
I fucking YouTube.
So there's that market, right? There's that thing.
YouTube, there should literally be a YouTube Academy where YouTube comes in and they pick all the best videos. Like, say you want to learn how to fucking work on your bike. And then YouTube will go in and be like, all right,
that's actually a great fucking idea.
Fucking solid video on how to work on your bike. So they pick all these random people's videos and then they give them, so much money. And then whatever happens, they pocket the rest. But that's like the academy, and you can pay to like learn off of YouTube.
Right.
Why don't they do that?
Well, I mean,
because that's how I learned. That's how I learned.
I
right now, this fucking podcast, all this equipment, all this like setting, all the mixing I'm doing, everything's from YouTube, self-taught from YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why the fuck are they not capitalizing on that whole fucking?
Oh, YouTube is capitalizing. I mean, when you get
what ads?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you get paid. But I'm
saying,
I thought 6 million views for this Thomas thing, I wasn't mad that he got 6 million views. I was just mad because
that he got paid.
He got paid.
Yeah, he got
He's
fucking
getting paid big time, and he just bought some toys and took them apart and talked about them.
Yeah,
it's fucking weird.
Well, I'm gonna start talking about this Dos Equis can I just opened.
Well, the thing with me is like, you think about like those kind of easy things to do, but it's like, man, like, I don't want $6 million to do that. I mean, maybe if it was on the table,
right?
But I actively like, you know what? I'm gonna go home, and then I'm gonna go to Toys R Us if they still have those.
Toys R Us are closed.
I'm gonna go buy toys and unbox them and videotape myself and try to talk in my kid voice.
Right.
And see if that works. And it's like, can you imagine going back to your high school reunion? So what do you do, man? I'm like,
I play with toys.
I play with toys on videos, and I'm
I
like,
get paid.
So you're into child porn. That's the only thing I'm thinking in my head is like you're into some like weird thing with kids.
That sounds like a leap. I think you're leaping.
Maybe I'm leaping. Maybe child porn's too far, but you're just
a little too far.
you're weird. You're pedophile.
It's odd.
You are weird.
It's
If you're
very
a grown ass man doing some shit like that, you are definitely fucking weird.
It's not authentic. It's different if like you see some 40-year-old version thing where he has like all these badass things he collected over years,
right?
And he has an appreciation for.
And then he finally opens one.
Well, no, just the thing. Well, yeah, that was like, this thing's been pressurized, and he busted open. It's like kind of like we wanted a video you
like
turning the bike on for the first time. It's just like that fresh thing.
He opens it. It's just like fucking.
The toy shrivels up because it hits real air for the first time.
Fucking fairy dust comes out.
But no, so yeah, that was kind of the deal. It's like, you know, just it's just crazy how like social media is like rapidly changing to where you can actually make more money working on your own bike, showing people how to do certain things, than actually having a business doing it.
I feel like you barely even have to know what you're doing.
It's not like it ain't like you make one video, right? It's not, you don't make one video and then you put it out and then for 1 month you get paid on that video. You get paid on that video for the time, for every month that it's running and people are watching it. So it's, to me, I look at it like when I do a paint job.
Well, it's got to help the paint job thing because, I mean, you would, like, you see a paint job on Instagram, those are like, oh, that's cool because you look at something. Not everybody wants to see a throttle body. That's really not that cool.
Well, yeah,
you know?
like, and I think that you guys have done a great job of, it's all about how you present your product.
Right.
It's about taking quality photos of it and being mindful, just even if you have a nice little box with a backdrop and you do it, or you find ways to, like, you can literally take a picture of this sitting right here and with
my wife Laura does all that, and she's really, really, really good at it.
Yeah.
She's really good at it. And she's always been good at trying to get a photo, but with something short to explain to the customer whether it's fitment or what it doesn't work on or what it works on or what it's for, which is good because it's kind of to the point. Not so much you're just looking at a product, you're getting some sort of information for it, because that's really the only way it gets any traction, because it's really, you know, it's not a colored, sparkled paint job.
I feel like for you guys would be great on the social media. I don't know if you do this, 'cause I'm not like looking at it right now, but you know, with all the apparel you guys have and the brand itself that you've built is pretty cool. Like it's almost like the easiest name you could ever think of.
Yeah.
When you're trying to think of like, hey man, let's start a shop and let's find out what's a good name. I don't know, like,
and I remember
it's so simple that it's fucking cool.
I remember when my uncle was in his office and he's like, what are we gonna call this? And he goes, Horsepower Incorporated. I wonder if anyone's taken that name. And we're like, I don't know, how do you look? Well, he got on the internet and he goes, holy shit, it's available. I'm like, really? We'll take it. Horsepower Inc. I mean, it was just simple. Like, we didn't really know, dude. I mean, we're all just, like I said, motorheads here. We don't really, because I don't even, and I will be the first to admit, like, not the last 3 or 4 years, I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on with the Harley. You could be like, oh, this was a FRT, whatever fairing. I'll be like, what the? I only know the engine. That's it.
Yeah.
So when I started riding, that was the first time I started paying attention to what people did with forks and what fairings were on bikes and this and that. And I didn't pay attention to any of that stuff. Never did. Just because we were always like, does it run good?
Yeah.
No, well, then it's gay.
Yeah, there you go.
Then it's gay.
It's not cool.
But yeah, that's what was I saying before that? Oh yeah, like the pictures and how you present them and stuff like that. I think that it's a challenge for every business to find a way, even if their stuff's not visually attractive to look at, to find a way to make it interesting to look at, right? And then when you have like your things like your apparel and you know, your air cleaners and all those type of things, sometimes it is like, you know, it's just having people that buy them and you just repost their shit.
Right.
I mean,
that's what we do a lot, because we like to get we're always like, if you got your bike done with our stuff, send us a post or tag us and we repost it, because we would like, you know, that's you get a whole picture of a bike and see what somebody did with it. That's cool.
I mean, think about it. Like Paint Hub for Metal Flake we're sponsored by them, and a lot of great artists are. If they take a picture of just a metal flake in a can, it's going to be appealing to some degree, just as appealing as this is to some degree. But if you were to show just a picture of a throttle body to, you know, the massive amounts of people that are in the Instagram world, it's not, what the fuck is this? Get it out. Next. Like, I want to go back to the bodybuilders or whatever, or the food or something, you know? But when he's using the stuff that guys like us do and all these other great painters do to promote their products,
look what my product does.
Yeah.
Right.
Next thing you know, you have like he's got a massive amount of followers now, because he has so much content he can put out there, because he's providing a tool or a product that's for the bigger picture.
Right.
Which is what you guys do. You create a product that is for the bigger picture of the motor. You just got to find that way of it being presentable and being able to show everybody, and makes it cool and fun to look at to where you have that content, you know?
It's hard for us on that side of it because any of these things, it depends on what you do to the bike, but you put a throttle body on or a throttle body and air cleaner injectors in it, makes it run better. It's hard to post about that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like, you know, it's kind of what I was saying earlier about the parking lot thing. It's like, if you're just taking a picture of a product that does something that you can't capture in still form or understand, even if you watch a video, like you can put a video of the videos of that thing running, sounds sick. It's not the same as it sounds live.
Yeah.
It's not you don't have that same feeling as it is live. So there is that kind of that gap that you have between promoting or just showing the world how awesome these things are.
Right.
Compared
what
to
works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, dude, these kids out here on Dynas ripping and doing wheelies, it's sad, but let them do it. Let them guys be the guys to drive your shit, because that shit's hot and that's what people want to see.
Right.
And, you know, chicks, put a chick with this thing, you know, just set it.
Sex sells.
It does.
Period.
Next thing you know, you got.
Period.
Why did that one picture get all the, you know what I mean? So it's like those kind of things end up doing more, you know? It's like, I don't want to sell out and be that guy that just starts putting a bunch of half-naked chicks on my Instagram just to get likes. Because then, you're just kind of building numbers. They're not like numbers of people that are probably going to ever do anything with you. They're just they're just there for your ego, basically, you know?
Right.
Like, put a chick with a big ass. I think somebody's been doing that lately. They've been posting pictures of like their apparel with some chick with
Trash
a big
and
ass.
Supply. Have you noticed that?
It wasn't
Yeah.
Thrash, it was somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
That's his wife.
I know. And everybody
It's a
keeps
nice
sending
ass.
me pictures in there, and they're like, "Oh man, check this out." I go, "Well, dude, that's cool though, because
Yeah.
that in every other industry is what makes people that
Yeah.
might not buy that part look at that and go, "Oh yeah, oh they'll sell that." It's just, I mean, that's how it works.
Hell yeah.
Dude, for real.
So with this Born Free build, I mean, like, what has been the process of that thing? Like, you want to just give us some rundowns of that build and where your thoughts were, where you wanted to go with it, what you did with it, you know?
Well, like I said, I'm just a racer, man. I just tried to make it as much of a race car as I could.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do something, I didn't put it on. Like, like I took the Speedo off, and like, you don't need that shit. I tried to make it like a race car, essentially. Loud and as fast as possible. I tried to make, like, we wanted to do something that on the M8 motor hadn't been done. Something that was, like, super hot,
Yeah.
as far as that, which I think we pulled off. But I just tried to make it, I don't know, just tried to make it a race car.
I think what you
That's
said
it.
was great in the dyno room is like when you were designing the exhaust and you were trying to keep it along the lines of what Harley put
Well, I
out.
wanted the Harley dudes to look at it and go, well, fuck yeah, that's the bike kind of still looks like what we gave
Designed.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all different. Like every single part of that bike I touched. I mean, every part.
Yeah.
So when I saw the bike at the first time, I go, I like that exhaust. That's cool, but it's too big
It's too
for
big.
what it was.
That's what it was.
So when I started it, like the first day we took it apart, me and Andrew were standing here, and I'm like, I want to put. The first thing I said was I want to do an X pipe with two mufflers that are kind of slash cut in the same shape as that, and that's essentially the whole thing, kind of like that came around that.
So the frame, that bare metal, like what was the process of that? So you had it stripped, and to get those colors in the welds, did you just kind of re-weld over everything?
We ground all the welds down and re-weld them.
Okay.
Re-TIG weld them.
That way you can get the color in them.
it, and then we just clear coated over it to make it.
Those are the kind of touches that make it. It has that raw grittiness, still that industrial look, but it's also like, it's custom. So like that bike in a parking lot, I'm gonna stop and look at it. You got a paint job on it,
right? And
then you got the other trick shit that you did to the frame and how all those different colors and finishes tie together, and it looks great on the bike.
When I always wanted to do that to a bike, but I got it stripped, and then when I started on it, I went, this was a terribly bad idea, because it took I worked 16 hours on a Saturday to Scotch-Brite and do all that. And then when I got down to it, we were originally thinking about re-welding it, but then some of the MIG welds were just too big and it didn't look right, and it didn't. I'm like, I can't leave this because it's not that style.
Yeah.
So then I ground them all down and we re-welded them, and that's the only way I could get the color back in it.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was done originally.
Yeah.
And with the swing arm, making the swing arm, we wanted to do that. If I didn't re-weld the frame, then the welded swing arm, what colors would have not,
Yeah,
wouldn't have
exactly. And
vibed.
so you guys you manufactured or milled or whatever the fuck the term is. You made the end plates and the actual base plate for the where it bolts to the motor,
bent the tubing, and then
made it all.
And made it all.
And you said you shaved like 18 pounds out of that thing?
Yeah, it was a lot.
That's crazy.
It was a lot. It was heavy. We used chromoly tubing, 1/8". So it's a little bit smaller profile, but it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
The only real reason we did that was I wasn't really worried about the weight as much as I didn't like the way it looked. Like I said, it didn't look right to me. So we thought that would be something that it would stand out a little bit. It was just something different,
Yeah,
it was different than everybody else's.
Well, I think the bikes, I haven't really seen everybody else's build and how it's come along. So I think you've probably been one of the more active ones of showing people what you've been doing to the build in the process.
Right.
They're just giving enough tidbits, or maybe I'm just not paying attention, or the new algorithm is not showing me what everybody's doing.
what everybody's skipping.
But, I've been following yours, and so it was pretty cool to get here today and see it and get to see it start. And that fucking pipe sounds cool. Riding it long distance, I don't know if everybody's going to like it.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would like that, but that wasn't the purpose of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's awesome that you saw that pipe on that Harley and saw beauty in what it could be, because everybody else just saw get that fucking
everyone took it off
thing
and
off,
went fucking 2 into 1s.
Yeah.
It's like,
like we were saying though, everybody just went back to what they were comfortable with, which is a Dyna, instead of there's some things like T-bars, but Dynas don't own T-bars. The fucking people have been putting those things on bikes since the beginning of bikes, or whatever the fuck you want to say. So there's certain aspects to bikes that aren't necessary only for Dynas, but a quarter fairing, I'd say it's Dyna thing.
Dyna,
T-sport, there's those few things that are for sure for that. So, like I said, I like how you did it, man. I think it looks good. I think it all came together nice.
Yeah, I think it did too. We're not bike builders here by any means, dude. We don't. We've built whole bikes, but it's we don't really we're not this guy has a style of some sort.
Yeah.
We kind of were just when me and Andrew started with it, and Eric too. And Laura and my mom and everybody had a lot of input. They're well, we only know one thing.
Yeah.
Let's make shit run. So we tried to. It's the first bike any of us have ever had painted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of just tried to make it as fast as we could, and it's more. And I just tried to take the sprint car industrial stripped down style.
Well, with all that knowledge and that experience in that arena, there's got to be some shit from the car world that can transfer over, that could be a fresh breath of air for the motorcycle industry.
Right. I think so.
So, who better to do it than somebody that's used to race cars? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and
it's
plus,
been cool.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but.
Cool shit takes a lot of work, man.
Yeah, cool shit takes a lot of work. Yeah, you can't just throw parts on shit,
So what else is, what else are the plans for the shop other than, the new growth?
Yeah, I don't know.
Product line growing?
Yeah.
Other than
we're gonna. On the throttle bike side, we're kind of stuck with whatever comes out on the motorcycles.
Yeah.
We can't really do.
How much had to change with the new M8 motor?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything. Yeah, it's a whole new manifold, throttle body, injectors. That whole platform was done different. So, we can't really we won't be coming out with anything new throttle body side just because we don't. It's the M8's here for a while. They're not going to change that. So
yeah.
That's pretty much done. Because it's always been like that. That we'll come out with different sizes. I think we're going to go to a bigger size because these guys are going bigger and bigger and bigger on the engine kits, and
yeah.
it'll take.
It's gonna need it, yeah.
But our 62 makes more power than the Screaming Eagle 64 on some combinations that people have done. But a lot of that, like I said, is our manifold design, and
yeah.
So we've tried to stay on top of that as fast as we can.
Yeah.
So, the exhaust thing is we've been making Dynapipes for a while, and they're really nice, but we want to put together a good package for the M8 baggers. It's a pipe and a cam and a throttle body and air cleaner and a tune that you can download.
That'd be dope.
And do it. So and people do that, but we would like to have a combination where a guy could do that and get his bike running good without having to go to somebody that
that might fuck
it up.
Something like what I would do, not check the run out.
Right.
Yeah, I think that, you should do that anyway, just because, like I said, you have all the tools here to create a quality product and a quality working product for people. And then, you know, with your throttle body's already proven the point that they actually can perform. And then people can buy an exhaust from you, like you said, that total kit, that map, the cleaner, the throttle body.
Right.
Maybe you can, whether you do your own cam or you work with somebody else on a cam, you can get this like stage 1, 2, 3 kit for somebody, and the numbers are pretty good there, you know, and they're pretty reliable, and you know this exhaust is going to perform. And, you know, I think that's good, because there's a lot of wonders out there, like, I wonder if this Vance and Hines pipe really does these numbers.
Right, does it do this?
Yeah.
I just think it would be beneficial, and people, and a lot of other people in the industry see it too, but making stuff that is easy for the consumer to take to a shop. Maybe they don't have a dyno.
Yeah.
They can still get a kit done and get something that runs pretty good without having to get into
I can't imagine. I mean, my buddy Mark bought a dyno for his shop, and those things are not like, those are fucking expensive.
Yeah, they're like 30 grand.
Yeah, it's like, let me make 30 grand so that some dude can come Jew me down because somebody across town does them for $300.
Oh, man, dude. I get that all the time. Like, tunes are expensive here, and they go, oh, well, you know, Harley shop does it for $250, and I go, and that's why you're here. Like, you're here because your bike has a problem, but they did it cheap. You get, and dyno tuning, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Like I said before,
5 hours.
Some dyno tunes
Yeah.
take an hour and a half. Most of the time, I'm in there 4 to 5 hours. That's a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not something that everybody knows. So, you know, you have to charge for that.
Yeah.
You know? And it takes, and dude, it sucks in there. It's hot as fuck. The fumes. It's like terrible working environment.
It's almost like painting.
It's exactly like painting. It's exactly like painting.
It's terrible for that. But there's a lot of knowledge to the dyno tuning that you have to.
Yeah, so it's not like you just buy this tool and all of a sudden you're the dyno tuner.
No.
So you're 30 grand invested into this fucking thing that you make pennies on the dollar back, I guess you'd say. Exactly. So you got a 5-year return if you do a dyno a day.
Right. Right.
But and then not to mention, you also have to tune you have to tune yourself there. You have to learn all the things, and then you also got to hope that you don't fucking blow anybody's shit up because somebody else built it and didn't do some shit right, and then they bring it to you and pop.
You're all, well, I don't know, I didn't build it, you know.
Yeah. I just turned the throttle, dude. I've seen that happen a lot too, man.
Yeah.
You know, that shit is crazy. That would be the scary thing for me. Just, it's almost like walking out. It's probably a bad analogy, but I've been drinking. Walking out, being a doctor and walking out, I'm sorry, but somebody has passed or whoever it is, and you're just like having to break the news, or maybe they're standing there watching it and they're like, is it supposed to like blow up like that?
No, dude.
I'm sorry, but
to.
your Harley is passed.
Your Harley is done.
That's crazy, man. So new shop, eventually, hopefully move all the machines down from PA.
Yeah, we would like to do just a small portion of it at first to get it up and going. That's the plan anyway. We've been trying to do it for a while, but this town, the town is very busy.
Yeah.
The economy's good in the city, so prices on real estate are up, and not a lot of people want to sell things because everybody's keeping shit because shit's going good here. So that side of it's been hard to find something because either this. Like, we've been looking for buildings, but they're either way, way, way expensive or in a shit part of town.
Yeah.
Or they need work and it doesn't work out. So it's
the logistics and the layouts and things like that.
It's a pain. I didn't think it'd be that hard, but it has been. So
the same thing with us, man. We've been wanting to move too, and we just can't find a. Like I was saying earlier, man, I'm so scatterbrained to where I want to take my business, whether it's focusing on the paint or going towards more parts sales and services and shit, and it's up and down. It's like one day I see a badass shop and then that fire lights, I'm like, fuck yeah, we're going full force, and then something doesn't happen with that shop or it falls through, and then I'm back on that. Well, I could just paint helmets in the garage and do one helmet a week and for a month and eat good and travel on my bike and not have to do any worries.
Not have to worry about that shit.
Then I'm probably having a life that I actually want, but then I know as soon as I pull up somewhere in the middle of nowhere having a blast on my bike, I'm going to see somebody doing some sick-ass shit in their shop. I'm going to be like, I want a fucking bike shop now.
Right.
And you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I am. But, yeah, it's weird, man, like finding out, like, from you guys seem to have it figured out. Like you have a clear direction.
Well,
with
no,
your
not
business.
really. Just because we've been here a long time, and a lot of people don't even really realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been making this shit a long time.
Yeah, dude.
Like a long, long time. But all of us, every person in this equation, all we really know how to do is work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all any of us really do. I mean, me, my wife, everybody, my mom, Eric, Andrew, Kyle. I mean, everyone here is just kind of like we're into this shit, and we just I don't know.
Do you get it a lot? Like people come to you going, "Hey man, how long y'all been in business? I've never heard of you guys."
Yeah, a long time. And I go 2002, and they go, "Get the fuck out of here."
Well, it's the same thing for us too with the paint, because a lot of people, like we started doing more dyno. Like it's crazy. We used to paint. We've painted a lot of like top notch baggers that were very popular in the industry, in the bagger industry. And I was known kind of in that thing, but when I started doing dynas, and it's like everything blew up for us, like the attention and all that stuff. And then what was it? Like I get it all the time. Like, hey man, like, are you new to this? You've been doing this for a long time, blah blah blah.
There's the boss.
And it's crazy because I'm like, yeah, dude, I've been doing it. I started in 2004. And I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. He goes, man, like for real, like never heard of you.
Right.
And people in the industry, like big names and stuff, but it's just weird. Like when you think about your path to get here and how long it took and how much work you put into it, and then all of a sudden Instagram comes along and some dudes on wheelies, and next thing you know, you're like, now you have a market for your product that's going to be like limelight,
right?
know?
And it's odd like that because it, for years, I mean, it was on all kinds of everybody's builds and this and that, making power and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, that stuff's cool. I didn't even know that existed. But like I said, the fuel injection is still relatively new in this industry. People don't really pay attention to it much. We have competitors like Screaming Eagle and S&S, but we've always tried to like keep ours a little different. You know? Like more, like I said, it's performance based, not so much just a production piece.
But does S&S like make a fuel injection setup?
Yeah.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah.
I've just not noticed their carburetors. That's it.
Yeah,
so
they
that's
have
weird.
one. Yeah. Yep. It's not very good. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I like S&S's stuff. It's awesome.
Totally.
Like every single bike build we do here, we use their cam plate and pump. It's badass shit. They're 124 cylinders and shit. I mean, you can't beat that stuff.
Yeah.
But the throttle bike is just, I mean, I think they got one done for a package that they did, and they pushed it with everything. Well, not that one unit works on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
But then on their side of it, this is not a huge market. So us concentrating on it and being able to get the stuff out as soon as a bike comes out is an advantage because we're not making cylinders, pistons, heads,
so
cams,
you have the
exhausts, everything. We're just doing what we know. So that's why. I think sometimes staying a little bit smaller is an advantage on some aspects of that, I think.
Totally. So, man, we appreciate you guys bringing us up here, man.
Yeah. I didn't mean to keep you up until, midnight, but
it's all right.
That's the point, though, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
We're going to be here anyway. I still got to go get that tire put on tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan's, yeah.
But no. Yeah, I might as well go. I mean, I don't feel too drunk, so I can probably ride over.
Yeah, we can ride.
I don't feel drunk at all because I haven't been drinking. I'm just playing. No, but like, tell everybody I've been saying it on the, when I first started doing the ads for y'all's deal, Horsepower Inc. Indy or Horsepower Indy, or when you read it, it looks like Horsepower Cindy.
It's Horsepower Inc. We just had it's two separate things. So when we came here, it's Horsepower Indy but it's Horsepower Inc. is what it is.
Yeah, so I was like, I had a hard time, like my tongue would get twisted trying to do those ads at first, but no, it's cool, man. We appreciate you guys supporting this podcast for the last couple of months and helping us get up here.
Like things like that are
needed
because it's able, you guys go out and get to people that not everybody can hear, and they might talk to them on the phone or get information from them, but you're going out and finding people that are in the industry and it gets a story.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like I said, it's been
I know
great.
Patrick.
Yeah,
and I talk to him all the time, but that podcast, I didn't know half that shit. No, that's the cool part about it. You get talking to people and you're like, oh, that's awesome. But it needs that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've been. We didn't like necessarily start this podcast with like a definitive thing. Like, we're gonna bring the fucking industry right to your ears. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we didn't have a mission statement and a business model or anything. It's like, hey, we like talking and drinking and talking about bikes, and let's just try to do this. And then I think that when I did one with Joe, which was the one that I got hammered on, it was 4 hours long. It's the most listened to podcast we've ever done.
Right.
I felt so unprofessional on that podcast that it was at that point that I wanted to start taking myself a little bit, or taking this more seriously, because I felt like I fucked up his story. I fucked up his story of his thing, and he still got at a point. We're friends, so he was able to work around my drunkenness. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to ruin anybody else's story. I didn't want it to, you know what I mean? So I wanted, if I'm going to sit down and talk to somebody and they're going to talk about how they got here and what they did, then I didn't want to be the fucking idiot that's just in the way of that, you know? Mm-hmm. So, and I probably don't sound any better on this thing, or you know what I mean? But it's a growth thing. I mean, if you had to do this, I think it takes time to learn how to talk and learn how to be that, you know, and I think that we're starting to we're going pretty good with it. We've had great support, man. Like I said, you guys have been massive help. It's not necessarily something we were trying to do to make money, you know what I mean? But when things start costing you money, you want to find a way to just like not be paying for it yourself. You know what I mean? And so with the sponsorships and the growth in like our Patreon support, it's been helping us, cover it, and it helped this trip. It helped out with gas. It helped out make a lot of these things possible, which then hopefully in the future we'll be able to do more of this shit, and we'll be able to go out for more than 4 days and do a bigger loop and catch more shops and come back again and do things like that, because that's what I really want to do is, this podcast, it's not like we're doing it for this year and the next year is like, hey, we had a good run. Like, we want to continue to do this for as long as possible. So we're going to have you guys on again. We're going to have some of the people we've already talked to again. And when you give it enough time, people get to catch up where they left off here and be like, hey, so, how's the shop? Like, I see you moved in it. And then there's another 3 or 4 hours worth of shooting the shit, talking about stuff. So that's kind of the fun thing about it, man. But the website, Horsepower Inc. .net, and then Facebook is Horsepower Inc. Indie.
Maybe. Horsepower Inc. I think it's just Horsepower Inc. I don't know. I hate Facebook.
Y'all have 3 different deals for 3 different locations. You know what I mean?
I think it's just Horsepower Inc.
Oh, Horsepower Inc. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the beer, the pizza. The pizza was great.
Yeah, the pizza was great.
And the hospitality is awesome. I wish we would have been having more time to go see the city at all. But any cool areas here, or is it kind of like all just?
It's all right. You're kind of in the hood here right now, but the Speedway is pretty cool. Uh-huh. That's pretty awesome.
Like, y'all have an area where like y'all go party whenever it's time to party.
Broad Ripple. Usually.
That sounds like cool.
That sounds like a really good time.
Like the college part of town.
Yeah.
Or like downtown, but Broad Ripple's like the party area.
Broad Ripple.
Yeah.
What'd you say about my nipple?
It's a broad ripple. That's cool, man. Well, hey, we appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Awesome.
We'll let us all
ride home.
Yeah. All right.
Killer. See ya.
And then we walked outside, and the bike was gone.
Yeah, it was a very strange feeling. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm sure that we'll be back in Indianapolis at some point in time, and we're going to talk to those guys again. Also, looking forward to get on Porterbuilt, who was hanging out at the shop. He's a very interesting bike builder who's built some pretty sick shit over the time.
That's cool, dude.
So, yeah, we're going to keep trying to get you some more content. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, Texas Performance MC, which you can catch online, texasperformancemc.com, painthuffermetalflake.com, horsepowerinc.net. Check all these guys out. Give them a follow on their social media pages. And if you need some things done, check those mofos out. Also, don't forget about us, man. Give us a follow on Instagram if you're not already. Give us a share. Give us a thumbs up. Give us give
it to me, baby.
Yeah, just, whatever, man. Whatever you're into, right?
Just a tip.
Yeah. Oh, we're on it. Yes, that's your new saying now?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm over the other one.
So over that shit. Anyway, we're going to bring you some more shit as soon as we can. So we appreciate you guys sticking in with us and continuing to support this journey. So holla at your boy. Have a great weekend and all that great shit, bruh.